was a California August in '82 when my mother gave birth to the Spam Tech crew. 13 years later had me looking at Linux. Programming made me stronger like Papa the Spinach. Now, people know that a DG carry weapons, but if that weapon is a nest, you step in. We finish Contra with only one life. Finish Metal Gear 2 using only a knife. Right. People might think that we're frontin', then they see all the noobs online that I'm putting. My rhymes flow just like my code, even though my source is owned by SCO. What about my Indian? I keep it low. See me on Gunbound, call me pro. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. No. I'm a legend everywhere that I go, every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go, every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I said my heart's wide open, goatsy, and my windows min like Ho Chi. I'm just another nerd, but I rap about it. Shit talk on the net, then I laugh about it. I've been caught slipping like the Star Wars kid when I'm on eBay sniping a bid. Catch me on a webcam like Numa Numa. See me at the club and I'm rocking Puma. Another net legend if you see me yodel. Spit a little something that's anecdotal. Tell me about the time the E-Bombs world stole your chop like I stole your girl. Catch me on Gen May, not something awful. Low tax would ban me, raffle. I'm a certified legend, but I'm still your bro. This is a PSA, boy, the more you know. I'm a legend everywhere that I go, every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go, every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spams. Yeah. I'm a legend everywhere that I go, every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spam. I'm a legend everywhere that I go, every distro, every Craigslist hoe pumping they fist, yo. Can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's jams, and they can't get enough of Whitey Cracker's spams. Yeah.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGG, and this is yet another Gabbing with Geeks. Welcome, one and all. As you can see, going solo tonight. We got Finbar. He's still off on his exotic adventure, and of course, Trevor, Top Loaded Gamer, is unavailable tonight. So it's just me and you. That's okay. Now, what's up? We got Beefy, Rabbit Dude, and Jess so far. I'm sure others will pop in because we got a lot to talk about. First off, I hate this new Twitter, X. When I see it in my bar, my little tabs on top of my computer screen here, the X throws me off. I'm always like, why is this porn? Open up like, oh no, that's Twitter. That X is Twitter. It always throws me off. But we're going to be talking about Ratchet and Clank being basically unplayable on PC. Everybody was calling Sony a liar, saying Sony was dumb. The whole SSD thing was unnecessary. But apparently, when they finally got it on PC, turns out the SSD is sort of needed if you want to play Ratchet and Clank. Of course, we're going to be talking about Xbox and them doing a really dumb thing. They're now suspending players who run emulators. Oh, terrible. The original Modern Warfare 2, the servers have been shut down after some vicious malware attacks. Then we got to talk about Sega, because Sega thinks that 2D graphics don't sell. They don't believe in 2D graphic games selling well anymore. And of course, we got to talk about the ESRB. They're looking to get approval to have a facial recognition app to scan people to check their age. That means people like Rabbit Dude, who looks like he's 10, not going to be able to play games anymore. Not going to be able to play them adult games. Rabbit Dude, sorry. They'll scan your face. They'll see that you're like 10. They'll boot you out of there. Of course, we got to talk about the Intellivision Amico, and just a small little arcade one-up update. Hopefully you all had a good week, as good as I've had. The mood last week was a little sour, a little dour around here. Tony's job was being threatened by some Pakistani company that was threatening to come in, undercut us, undersell us. But it's okay. It's all been cleared up. Looks like my company will not be going with the Pakistani company. Instead, they'll be sticking with us, the U.S. made. USA wins again. We got the happy ending from the end of Gung Ho. What's up? Tommy Uemiko's in the house. I was great on Sweet and Tender yesterday. I was just being me, just being honest. It was a good time. I sometimes I feel like I talk too much on other people's podcasts. Like I was kind of like bullying Sweet and Tender, his show, and I was doing most of the talking. And yes, I do have a Ultra Fiesta Mango Monster. Quite delicious. Quite nutritious. 56K warning says he's solid like poop. Ooh. If your poop is solid, you might want to change up your diet just a little bit. But other than having to take, and he's drunk, Sweet needs to be bullied. He's an idiot, and he's drunk. Oh, well, good thing. Good thing I was there then to save his live stream. I had to get up early today. We would have went longer, but I had to get up early today. I had to take Sidekick Max to the dentist. Still getting his braces done, get his teeth all nice and fixed. They're going to look like Boogie 2988. Be all nice and shiny and straight and really off-putting. That thing's costing an arm and a leg. I might actually have to start coming to work on time so I could pay off his braces. Fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. Then, of course, because Sidekick Max has no job, he's begging for money. He says, Daddy, I'm going to go to the mall tomorrow. Daddy, can you give me some money? So I gotta do that. I gotta give him some money so we can go to the mall. Children, they just treat you like you're walking ATMs, is what I'm saying. But it's all right. It's all right. I love them. Other than that, it's been quite a week. I knocked out one review. I was supposed to knock out 3. This is the second week in a row that I have not been able to knock out 3. I am playing. I finished 1980X. That's done. It's been done. It's on the back burner. It is the 3rd review in the rotation because I didn't get it for free. It's not a review copy, and there's no rush to get it reviewed on the channel. So that's why that one's on the back burner. But the other 2 definitely got to get out. I can't even pronounce it. It's like Krzaski, something weird. I don't want to say weird. Then my Polish fans would be mad. But some Polish or Lithuanian sounding name that I just can't pronounce. But I got to get that finished. It'll probably go up tomorrow on my day off. I hate putting up reviews on my day off, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. The Knights of the Cross is based on a old book. I'm talking about the Teutonic Knights and the Lithuanian-Polish alliance to fight them off. It's actually a pretty decent game. It's pretty fun. I did put up the Solvars review. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's pretty interesting. It is a mobile game that got ported over to consoles and Steam, and it's I think it's kind of a fail. Of course, we got to talk about the Intellivision Amico in a bit. We'll do that when we get more people here. We'll save that maybe about the half hour, 45-minute mark. Because there's some exciting Amico news. And as always, if you are a member, if you're watching this now, and if you're a member and if you haven't done so already, go to the members only, ask us anything. You can ask us damn near anything. And we will answer it on the show. As long as we are able to, right? If you ask me a question that I just don't know the answer to, I'll do my best to answer it. But it might not be a satisfactory answer for you. Tommy wants his Amico. We all want our Amico. I was actually reading over some old Amico post on Reddit right before the show. Yeah. Penis size, you got to ask. You got to be a member, buddy love, and then you have to ask it in the members mailbag. So, I mean, but I mean, I can answer. I can answer for myself. I can't answer for the rest of the team. Anyway, hopefully y'all settled in. You're all ready for this exciting adventure. We are going to talk a little bit about Secret Invasion because I watched the entire series, 6 episodes. I have thoughts. I have thoughts on this, and MCU. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You want to say, hey, it's not as bad as people have been making out to be. It's not as bad as all those crazy YouTubers claim. But damn, Secret Invasion was it was shit. It was the drizzling. It was a snorefest. Worse than that, worse than being a snorefest, it's broke canon, and it's just bad. It just doesn't fit in with the MCU. They should have never done it. Stop giving the MCU y'all's money. Well, I'm not giving anyone my money because, it's on Disney Plus. They had my money for the month already. So, you watched Barbie. I did not watch Barbie. I don't watch misandrous movies, movies that hate men. It's not for me. I like good movies. All right. Let's go check in with IGN. This comes to us from IGN. Wesley Vinpool says Ratchet and Clank ripped apart PC, basically unplayable without an SSD. As we said, quote, Insomniac cheekily reminds players. Man. I remember Xbox and PC Master Race are all laughing, saying how, man, looks like Sony lied. Sony lied about the SSD on the PS5 and Ratchet and Clank not being able to be played on other consoles and other systems. And, this proves Sony lied. All right. But here we are. Looks like Sony was telling the truth. It says Ratchet and Clank ripped apart on PC is, for all intents and purposes, unplayable without an SSD, experts have revealed. Digital Foundry's John Lineman discussed the game's performance when running off an actual PlayStation 4 hard drive on a machine just above minimum spec. As the gameplay shows, Ratchet and Clank ripped apart breaks down during its famous level shifting mechanic. As tweet from John Lyman says, our first look at Ratchet on PC has a few issues, but it's overall in good shape. Infinitely better than The Last of Us Part 1 and Jedi Survivor at launch. The funniest bit is when Rich tried running the game off an actual PS4 hard drive on a machine just above minimum spec. Let's see. So this is what it looks like. Look at that. Terrible performance. Let's put this up. This is what happens when you try to run it without an SSD. This is the performance you get on PC. PC Master Race. Remember that? Where is your God now? Man, this is terrible. If it wasn't for the music, I would have thought the game had froze. Who the heck still uses HDD for games on PC? I have no idea. No clue. I don't even game on PC, really. Just the views popping in. Have I missed Secret Invasion talk and John Hancock talk? No, you have not. Man. Struggling. It says the PC port we've been waiting for. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart arrived too late for the full deep dive treatment, but while we work on that, check out 3 Let's Play PC Max versus PS5 performance, RT versus PC low, very low on min spec hardware. Boom. We're not going to watch that video. It says developer Insomniac and publisher Sony drew criticism after Rift Apart's PC specs were announced in the run-up to the game's launch. The specs confirm Rift Apart does not require an SSD to run, despite this being a central part of the original PlayStation 5 version's marketing. Julian Hugebretz, online community specialist at Porting Studios Nix's software, said to run Rift Apart on very low settings, 720p and 30 frames per second, users would require an Intel Core i3 8100 or AMD Ryzen 3 3100 CPU, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960 or AMD Radeon RX 470 GPU, and 8 gigabytes of RAM. Look at all that. Rift Apart can also run from 75 gigabyte of HDD space on these settings, but the recommended and higher specs all demand 75 gigabytes of SSD space. First off, let me just say that Sony and Insomniac, you guys are assholes for porting this over and putting the minimum specs. Technically, I guess, yes, technically it runs, right? It sort of runs technically on those minimum specs, but I hate that shit, right? Minimum specs should be it runs good, right? The minimum that it runs good, not the minimum that it's able to run. Like, hey, we sort of got it to sort of limp across the finish line at these specs. No, minimum spec should be, hey, it runs well. It's like watching Tony stream on YouTube. Ooh, is it that bad when I stream? Didn't they say that they could have run on a PS4 Pro? So why is it bad on PC? It's because the minimum specs on the PC are below the specs on the PS4 Pro, I think. What's next? PC ports using IDE drives? This is stupid. Yeah, it is. What's up, Carla? I see you guys are all talking about Hancock, man. There's a couple of things we got to talk about with Mr. Johnny Hancock later on. Hugh Rich confirmed the game can be enjoyed using an HDD and the minimum system requirements, but its system requirements are higher to experience the game's signature dimension-hopping gameplay as originally intended. Based on Digital Foundry's analysis, while it's technically true Rift Apart can run without an SSD on PC, doing so makes it near impossible to play. As I note in the video, I or 7200 129,000 PC, but also 64 gigabytes of RAM, which helped a lot, though it still pauses much longer than an SSD. Lineman explained. This low spec system only had 8 gigabytes of RAM, thus it pages the HDD like crazy. Fuck, I'm reading it as well as DJC. Quote, the main video here shows the game running on a min-spec PC as well, but using an SSD, and as you watch that video, you'll notice it's quite playable in comparison. The poor HDD simply cannot cope at all. As we said, Insomniac Community Chief James Stevenson cheekily noted on Twitter, the PC version of Rift Apart joins other previously PS5 exclusive games like God of War, The Last of Us Part 1 on the platform, though the latter launched with myriad issues that earned the beloved remake a mostly negative rating. So there it is. What's up, Tommy? Got triggered. 2 terabytes NVMe just hit $100 price point. This 7200 RPM HDD nonsense is stupid. Yeah, it is. And like I said, it's because they released the minimum specs with a, well, technically it runs, right? Technically it turns on. But I think they need to stop doing that shit. But this is why I play. This is why PC gaming sucks and console gaming's better. I don't need to tweak my console to run a game. I don't need to check minimum specs to run a PS5 game. PS5 game is set to run on a PS5. I know it's probably really easy to, add RAM and do all the fancy things, but I just don't want to do it. I'm just lazy. I'm just a lazy bum who wants it all put together for me, all done. And I could just, turn on my system, push a button, and start playing games. I don't want to worry about all this system specs, new video cards, new graphics cards, new audio, this. It sucks that PlayStation porting the only games off the PS5 to PC. Not really. They're porting them so late in their cycle. The majority of people who were buying the PS5 and were going to buy that game, it's probably passed already. So it's just extra money at this point. System specs never mean anything on PC for decades. PC way of making sure it runs is to buy the game and hope for the best. Tony, stick to consoles. Stop making PC act like consoles. PC has a lot of advantages over console. Tons. But when it comes to convenience for stupid, lazy people like me, you can't beat a console. Can't beat it. Tommy got triggered. Says Spider-Man PS5 looks good. The new one, the Spider-Man 2, that looks pretty good. Spider-Man 1 was really good. I liked it. The Miles Morales expansion, standalone DLC, it's hard to qualify it as a full game because it really isn't a full game. It was okay. It didn't have the greatest of story. I haven't even finished it because it really didn't hook me. But it's all right. It's just more of the same, really. Robbie says Windows XP is the best OS of all time for gaming. What's up, Robbie? I wouldn't, like I said, I really don't game on PC. I've really never been a PC gamer. I've really never been interested. The games I wanted to play were always on console, right? It wasn't until years later that there was like games on PC that was like, oh man, that looks really good. I should play that. But by then I got set in my ways. So I'm just here chilling. Every now and then I'll get a Steam game. And I'll check that out, but not my cup of tea. I also don't like having to sit at the computer desk. It's weird. Like my TV is huge. It's a lot bigger than my monitor. Right? I could just lounge around when I'm playing my games on the console. Whereas PC, I got to be here at the desk. I'm sitting up. I'm not really good at typing, so Tony's not a PC gamer, but he's a PC YouTuber. This is true. This is true, Jay Cuts. Yeah. Let's move on from one dumb thing to another because we got to talk about Xbox making stupid moves. And this comes from Video Game Chronicles. Xbox has reportedly started suspending players who run emulators in retail mode. It's also outright banning users who upload emulators, it's claimed. As we know, there is a legal gray area. It is not as black and white as some people think. It's not so clear cut. There really isn't a definitive court case that has decided on emulation. You know, despite what people might think, despite what people might say, despite what uneducated YouTubers might profess, the truth is there has not been a clear-cut decision on emulation. With that said, I don't think Xbox should be doing this. It's funny, you know, after Xbox is cleared of, you know, going ahead and buying Activision and Blizzard, now all of a sudden they're pulling this. I wonder how long they've been sitting on this, waiting on this. Now, previously, users were able to download emulators as applications directly from the Microsoft Store, which would allow them to play retro game ROMs on any retail Xbox Series console. Microsoft then later disabled the loophole that would let these applications run on the retail mode of the system, though users could still run the applications in developer mode. Earlier this month, a group claimed to have found another way to get emulators running on retail mode and started a Patreon account asking for $2 per month for access to their new method. It would appear this didn't last long, as Microsoft has now started cracking down on all retail emulation and those who use it. As reported by YouTuber Hikikomori Media, who regularly reports on emulation on consoles, Microsoft has started handing out 15-day suspensions to players running emulators on their Xbox Series X, S, and Xbox One consoles in retail mode. Hikikomori Media cites a Discord server called Xbox Emulation Hub, which is dedicated to running emulators on Xbox consoles. I remember everybody was like really excited because they're like, "Oh man, you can get the Series S, and it's like real easy to run an emulator on it, and you could fucking play all kind of games." Like the Series S, not the X, the S, Series S was like the gateway. It was like people were like, "Hey, don't even buy it for the Xbox game. Just buy it because you could do emulation on it." Now look at you. Now look at you guys. Dusty says, I played Witcher 3 for 10 minutes and turned it off. I got a little bit further than you, Dusty. I played it for, I want to say, about 35 minutes before I turned it off. It wasn't that it was a bad game. It didn't hook me. Like, there was nothing there. Like, maybe because it's the third in the series and I'm supposed to be familiar with these characters, but like there was nothing there that grabbed me. It was like, yeah, I got to keep playing this game. I will eventually get back to it, though. I will. Jay Cut says, this all came from them trying to add Dolphin to the store. Patreon is the unsung hero in emulation. I don't know. I have my, like, I understand wanting to do the emulation, and I understand the whole piracy thing and, you know, their old games. And I get that. I get that. Where I have issue with is people taking money, right? $2 a month to how much were they making, right? If there was like, hey, this is our cost. If they said, hey, it cost us X amount to put this application on the Xbox and keep it running, you know, once we hit that goal, you know, that's it. You know, right? We only need $100 a month. Once we hit $100 a month, we break even. No one, you know, we're not going to allow any more Patreon after the 100, right? Then I would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Tommy says you can do emulation on a $60 Amazon tablet. Yeah. I'm wondering if this is going to eventually they're going to find a way to figure out if you're running an emulator on your PC and then just be like, hey, we're going to suspend your Xbox account. Probably had to do with Andstream coming to Xbox as well. Yeah, but Andstream is so lame, man. We went over the games for Andstream last week, and they were just some shit games. VGC joined the server to corroborate the claims and found an announcement posted on Thursday from staff member Golden Sky, who specializes in creating retail access to the RetroArch emulator, informing users that retail mode is dead, and that the Discord server's retail mode channel will be deleted within a week. Effective immediately, we are halting any and all retail mode emulation permanently, Golden Sky writes. This channel will be deleted within the week, and this announcement will be moved to the server announcement channel for preservation purposes. Here he is. Retail mode on Xbox is dead. 15-day suspensions handed out to users of retail emulators as a warning shot from Microsoft. Devs warning users to delete emulators. Retail mode team disbanding and shutting down the Patreon. Sorry to bear the bad news. Retreat to warn others. Quote, a significant amount of users have been receiving 15-day suspensions as a warning shot from Xbox, they add, including photos from users as proof. We strongly recommend removing any and all emulator apps from your console in retail mode immediately. Dev mode is unaffected. We apologize to anyone who got a 15-day suspension. We know it sucks. Golden Sky also warns that users who have been re-uploaded emulators to retail mode are getting outright console bans rather than 15-day suspensions. Quote, please take my advice and do not begin trying to upload retail mode emulators. They write, Microsoft are console banning people caught uploading retail mode emulators. Don't take the risk for yourself and don't put others at risk either. It's not worth it anymore. Just use dev mode. Players can still install emulators to their consoles in developer mode, but access to this mode costs a one-off fee to activate, and players have to manually switch between developer mode and retail mode. While in developer mode, they can't play retail games or enjoy features like quick resume. No, we don't. 56 says League of Legends already installed rootkit on your PC. Damn. They're killing emulations. It's going to be dead. Geez, just buy a used Wii. We can't. What are all those old folks' homes going to use, Tommy, if we take all the Wiis? If we take all the Wiis for ourselves, there's going to be nothing left for all those gaming racists. Just another Microsoft being weasels. Yeah. I'm saying pretty soon, everybody thought it was such a good thing that Microsoft, was buying Activision Blizzard. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. The consolidating of the gaming sphere is going to have many, many unforeseen consequences that you guys are not going to be happy about. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has expressed his support for emulation in the past, as long as it's done through legal and authorized routes. Well, Phil, there is no legal and authorized routes for emulation. In 2021, he told Axios that he advocated software emulation as a solution to game preservation. Quote, I hope, and I think I have to present it that way as of now, is an industry we'd work on illegal emulation that allowed modern hardware to run any, within reason, older executable, allowing someone to play any game, he said. He added, I think in the end, if we said, hey, anybody should be able to buy any game or own any game and continue to play, it seems like a great North Star for us as an industry. End quote. Actions speak louder than words, Mr. Spencer. And Tommy's right. Amico will save the gaming industry. So many games lost to the sands of time. It's a shame. It's a shame. And Xbox is doing their part to make sure it happens. Fuck that entire company. Yeah, yes, I agree, Moonsoon. Tommy Amico says, yeah, legal emulation would mean like the Disney Afternoon Pack. Not really, because it's. I mean, technically, it's emulation, but like when you think of emulation, you don't think of like the owners of the IP, re-releasing the game on a new hardware. That's not like what people are thinking. Right? They're thinking about like free access to it uh, for quote preservation purposes. You know. All right. What else do we got going on here? Uh, let's see. Yeah, another little. So if you guys still play the Modern Warfare 2, but Mitty says that's totally emulation. I don't know. 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Let's agree to disagree. We'll agree to disagree, Mitty. How's that sound? 56K Warning says reverse engineering. IBM lost that battle. Tommy says that's how they want it. Licenses, yeah. It's time for the emulator. It's time for the emulator. I know that song, Dank. I'm old. All right. This comes to us from our friends over at Eurogamer. It says the original Modern Warfare 2 servers have been shut down following a malware threat. Modern Warfare 2 was brought offline while we investigate reports of an issue. It's terrible, terrible. People can't enjoy their games without assholes being assholes. This comes from Vicky Blake. It says the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has shut down its servers to prevent the spread of what is widely thought to be a malware attack. Not to be confused with the more contemporary 2023 game of the same name, which runs on different servers and remains unaffected. Activision was forced to take the 2009 version offline on Steam whilst it, quote, investigated reports of an issue. Although Activision hasn't confirmed what the alleged, quote, issue is, players believe it's connected to a post shared on the game's Steam forum back in June that warned players to run an antivirus scan, positing that a Trojan was being spread amongst players, quote, using hacked lobbies. As reported by TechCrunch, it appears the malware, which has been flagged on VirusTotal, contains a worm that spreads automatically between players sharing lobbies on PC. Escape reports of an issue. And there's been no further word from Activision or any of the Call of Duty communication channels about when or even if the servers will be reactivated. Activision has also not yet confirmed if the worm is indeed the reason why the game has been temporarily taken offline. Season 4 of the most recent Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0 went live last month. Amongst the additions for Season 4 are new maps, new operators, and limited time launch modes. Vondel, the recently leaked new map, looks to be inspired by Amsterdam and its canal. Last two paragraphs here, really not needed. Just padding out the article. Has nothing to do with the issue that we're discussing. It's like you got to hit that word count limit. Unsupported software have security risk. News at 10. Yeah. I don't know. I want to think that this is on the up and up, and this is an actual issue that they're looking into. But also, wouldn't put it past Activision to take down, the older games. Hey, we got too many people playing the older games. We need people playing the newer games. Let's invent an issue, right? We can invent an issue. We can say, hey, there's some meanwhile the new game, guys. While you're waiting for the old game to come back on, just go play the new game. I don't know. It all sounds fishy, especially like I said, the new stuff. See, got to get them players. Maybe there was too many people playing the old game. Activision didn't like that. Maybe Microsoft didn't like that. Microsoft said, "Hey, gotta get them off." Now, we didn't buy Activision so that you can play the old games and not give us more money. We bought Activision so they could buy the new games and give us lots of money as we nickel and dime them. So I wouldn't put this past not one bit. All right, we're 41 minutes in. I think it's time we bust out the Amico talk. The only reason for our existence. Modern Warfare 2, PC marked the death of the PC community servers. I wouldn't even know. But going on to a more happy topic. This is the Intellivision _Amico subreddit. D-list celebrity, one of the mods, I believe. He proposed 13 questions, the 13 reasons why Amico sucks. No. 13 questions. He says some Amico questions that will likely never be answered. We're going to do our best. We're going to do our best to fly through these. And we'll go over what we think some of these answers might be. We might have some definitive answers, but some of them might be speculation based on, things that we know, things that we've heard. Strap in, boys. It's going to be a long one. Also, why is my Wi-Fi giving me such bad reception right now? God damn it. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And I'm not just talking into the void as you guys are just lurking. All right. Question number 1. Why didn't they just drop it when the big investor fell through? This one, it's very interesting because the assumption, right? This question, and I think a lot of these questions assumes a few things, right? First off, this assumes that there was a big investor, right? This assumes that there was a big investor in which they at least tentatively had some sort of agreement with, right? I do not believe they had an agreement with anybody other than they said they were going to create a product. And this person said, well, when you have the product, you show me the product. And if it's a good product, then I might be interested in investing. I believe that is the extent of the agreement with this quote unquote big investor. Tommy Tallarico likes to throw things around. He likes to make claims, wild exaggerations. He likes to say things, we're in talks with people. We got partnerships when he doesn't have partnerships, collaborations, right? So I really believe that they didn't actually have a big investor, because if they had somebody, right, if the person was on the hook, then literally there would have been some sort of agreement, and there would be no falling through, right? There's no falling through. Obviously, we know that there was nobody who had given them a lot of money, because if someone had already given them a whole bunch of money, as a big investor, that person would definitely not have gone away, right? That person would still be around, even if he said, "Hey, I'm closing the purse strings. You guys are fucking up. I'm not giving you any more money." He would still be around to be like, "Hey, Tommy, we got to get this shit going. We got to get the ball rolling. We got to get this thing moving," right? So I don't believe there was ever a big investor who had given any money. I do believe there was somebody that Tommy was, at the very least, courting, someone that expressed a little bit of interest, and they did have a private meeting with somebody in which they showed off the Amico, and then afterward, they didn't get the investment. So yeah, so I think there was never any agreement. Strap in and strap on, yeah. Oh, so, uh-huh. Says connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging it into your router or moving closer to it. I'm literally right here. I have the hopefully it's not too unbearable. That's semantics, but matches up what makes sense with Pat Ellsworth. Yeah, it is semantics, but like I said, Tommy makes claims, right? And we got to really parse through whether or not what he's claiming is true to get to the truth, right? Because we're looking for the truth. We're not looking to placate Tommy's ego. We're not looking to, go off of what he said, right? We're trying to look for the truth. And I think the truth is they never had a big investor. Smash paid $10K for a Uber ride in a Ferrari with an annoying driver. Oh, hopefully this Wi-Fi issue clears up on its own. The company they put in money. They made it. Looks like I'm back. Yeah, Tony needs an SSD. Tony out here oofing his audio. Damn. All right, we're back. The issue seems to have cleared up. Hopefully. No. Did the frog pass out drunk like evil screams? No, I don't. All right, let me get this screen back up. God damn. Tony pirating something in the background, guarantee? No, I'm not. I don't know what it was. My Wi-Fi just went out. What is this, Carl stream? So much dead air. I don't know if it was. How long was the air dead? I was talking a lot. All right, let's get back on track. Miggy says, I think they had one that said things that Tommy took as they've got it in the bag when they really didn't. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think someone expressed interest in the Amico, and that's it. Interest in what Tommy had presented as the idea. And he's like, hey, when you have an actual console, call me up and we'll take a look at it. Microsoft throttling Tony's internet speeds because he uses emulators. Because I was talking shit about them. Microsoft out here. Phil Spencer's in my backyard shaking my antenna. He is good friends with Tommy Tellerico, so. Yeah. So, yeah. So, as far as why they didn't stop, if you didn't hear, I was just talking to myself. What I was saying was that they had things in motion, right? They had the grant money coming in from Germany. They had developers already had received money to start development on games. Things were already in motion. So they couldn't just stop. They couldn't just stop. They would have been out too much money. They would have lost too much. The only path to success, the only path to making money and not coming out a loser on this was to push forward and try to find new avenues of revenue. And that's what they did. Unfortunately, those avenues were crowdfunding, sketchy investment sites, your Neo Patels, your Tiki Tuaras, your Figs, your Republics. That's why I didn't stop. Also, ego. Tommy's got a lot of ego, so there's that. So hopefully that answers that question. And hopefully my internet. Nobody expects the Bavarian Grand Infusion, or the Spanish Inquisition. Of course they could. I mean, yeah, technically they could stop MIDI, but they, taking the loss is not a desirable outcome. No one wants to take the loss. You think David Perry and the rest of them were going to take a loss? They bought Intellivision. They needed to do something with it. They invested. It was sunk cost fallacy. They invested enough time and money into it that they needed something out of it. Instead of building up even more worse, they didn't think, though, that no one ever thinks they're going to build up worse losses, right? Like I said, sunk cost fallacy. You think if you just keep putting effort into it, keep throwing money at the problem, time, Atari H post, it'll fix itself. And this is the gaming industry taking a loss cost billions. Yeah. But you are right, though. It was a lot of Tommy's ego. And again, some of those guys were collecting paychecks. I don't think that the people collecting paychecks were concerned about losing anything. Taking a loss is the more desirable outcome than the current outcome. Well, see, MIDI, you're making the mistake of making it a two choice, right? You're trying to make it an either or. Either they lose a little bit now or they lose a lot later, right? You're not giving the chance for, hey, they could turn it around. Now, we all know they couldn't. We all know that was not the way it played out, right? But it doesn't mean that that was not a possibility on the table, right? So don't make it sound like it was either lose a little bit now, lose a lot later, and that's it. It was lose a little bit now, possibly lose a lot later, or possibly, either break even or even possibly make some money. When you go back and read, you can see he was up at Poop Creek. Yeah, he was. But like I said, he thought he could talk his way out of it. He thought he could turn it around. He's never lost. He could just will it. He's got the secret. He knew the secret, guys, and he was going to fix it. That's why they couldn't stop. All right. Says number 2. Why didn't anyone put a leash and muzzle on Tellerico earlier? Did nobody take the slightest interest in what he was doing to screw them over? All right. So, 2-part question here. I think they were not entirely aware of what Tommy was doing. You got to remember, these are old guys, right? These are old dudes. I'm sure it came down to, hey, I'm going to go do an interview on YouTube. All right, Tommy. Then afterward, how did the interview go, Tommy? Oh, it went great. It went fucking great. It's the best interview ever. No negativity. Everyone loved the interview, guys. I don't think they were sitting there reading Tommy's post on Reddit and Atari Age as meticulously as we were. I think they were just probably getting, they would have a meeting and then, all right, Tommy, tell us how is the community outreach going, Tommy? How's the YouTube stuff going? And Tommy was just, hey, it's going great. It's fantastic. Hey, look at all these views. And, I'm sure Tommy was, there's some haters out there. There's a small 5 haters with multiple confirmed alt accounts. Don't worry about it, guys. It's not a big deal. I don't think they saw it as an issue because, again, we think of ourselves as a big community, as a big, powerful force in the gaming, but we're small, we're tiny, we're pretty insignificant. All things said and done, right? It wasn't really until Pat and Ian really started getting it going, and the E3 backlash, and you had Digital Foundry and Kotaku, and when they started writing articles and started talking about it, I think that's when they were like, wait a minute, something's up, something's not. This isn't what Tommy was selling us on how things were going. 56K when he says, I think most of the people got involved was on the strength of being, quote, friends with Tommy. No money changed hands. This possibility. It's a possibility. E3 was a disaster. That's what I think. I think that's when eyes started opening up. Not the first E3 because they didn't have the presentation. But I'm talking about the 2021 E3 when they had the presentation, when he did the thing, and then there was a huge amount of backlash live, right? Tommy can say whatever he wants. He can spin things, he could spin it round and round like a merry-go-round. But when it's live, right? That E3 live chat, like 56K Warning says, that was something. Like, there's no way for Tommy to spin that, right? There's no way for Tommy to go, hey, it was only a couple of people, right? When everybody was just shitting on the Amico, when everybody in the live chat was just like rejecting completely the idea of the Amico. I think that's when they're like, we're fucked. Tommy has lied to us. Tommy has been stringing us along. And I think then they started investigating because remember when they announced that Tommy had gotten replaced, it had already happened months prior. And they were just allowing Tommy to save face, right? So I really think E3, after the presentation, after it went down, they had a meeting, and that's when they were like, dude, you what's been going on, right? E3 live chat was full of gaming racists. Going on Rich's channel, again, going on, Saggy Melons or Mad Max or even when he came on mine, all of that can be swept up. Hey, it's just a small channel. Any negativity on a 1,000 sub channel, 500 sub channel, a fucking goose channel, right? You could push that to the side and be like, guys, it's not a big deal. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. But when you're at E3 giving a presentation and you have thousands of people watching and they're all shitting on it and they all have families and they all are gamers, there's no way to contain that. And I think that's when it finally dawned on some of these guys. Because again, who really in the principals, right? In the C-suite, your Nick Richards, old. Phil Adam, old. John Alvarado, old. And none of these guys are sitting here. I don't think any of them are watching YouTube as a hobby. I don't think any of them are, perusing the channels that you guys are, right? I think they're old. They weren't going to forums. I don't think they were doing anything other than just living their lives and playing golf and, dealing with family. I don't think they were checking up on Tommy the way you would think they should. 56K1 says the company goes under based on small nobodies. The company was doomed from the start. True. That's true. And again, that was probably like when Tommy would sell them on, hey, it's just a bunch of small nobodies. Don't worry, because when the big guys talk about us, they're going to talk about us good. And that's all that matters, right? The big guys talk about us. But again, E3 happened and everybody shit on it. The Amico was a Potemkin village. Yeah. Does a log of the E3 live chat still exist? I would like to review that with Sweet and Tender and Tommy sometime. I don't know if it does exist. I know if you upload a video or if you edit your video, or if you do anything to the video, YouTube removes the live chat. So the E3 live chat might be gone. You might be able to find it. If you can find somebody's live reaction to E3, maybe you could see it on there. But I don't think it's on the E3 channel or whatever. Amico was a way to launder money. Maybe. That's actually a really good stream idea if you can find it. Yeah, good luck. If I will, after this show, if somebody reminds me, I'll look. I might be able to find it. But I don't know. Might be gone. All right. What's the second part of this question here? It says, did nobody take the slightest interest in what he was doing to screw them over? He's making this because obviously D-list celebrity does not like Tommy. He does not like Tommy on a very personal level. And he's framing this question in a very biased way, right? I don't think Tommy going on small YouTube channels and stuff was screwing them over, or it meant to screw them over, right? Tommy was doing what Tommy thought he needed to do in order to kill the gaming racist, right? To bully the gaming racist out of the space. And ultimately, it worked to a degree, right? We all sit here and go, man, Tommy's an asshole, Tommy's bad. But to a degree, it worked. He did rope in a group of people. He did get some pre-orders, right? And the fact of the matter is he might have gotten more pre-orders being Tommy than not being Tommy, right? Could you imagine if they didn't say anything? If he wasn't there? If he didn't form these weird parasocial relationships with your DJCs and your Mike Mullises, right? All the loudest cheerleaders for Amico were quote-unquote friends of Tommy, right? Take Tommy friendship out of the equation. If Tommy never appeared on these small podcasts, if Tommy was not there in the comment sections, if Tommy was not on Atari Age, pretending like they were his best friends, would those people have ordered that many consoles? Would those people have ordered 3-4 sets of the box games? Would the Amico pre-orders have hit 10,000? It worked for the weak-minded and those who buy old stuff. Yeah, but what I'm saying is those weak-minded people were like the only people that were interested in Amico. So now take that away, and then you really have nothing, right? They might have been worse off without Tommy. Right? It might be a situation where Tommy could only get the dumbest of the dumb, but without Tommy, you couldn't even get those guys, right? Oh, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like for everything, for all the negatives that people say about Tommy, and there are a lot of negatives. I think he actually was able to get a bigger audience than he would have ever gotten if he wasn't Tommy. And when I say wasn't Tommy, I mean the way he acts. If he didn't act the way he acted, right? Because again, do you think Mike Mullis is out there fighting for the Amico if Tommy wasn't his friend? Do you think OEB Pete was making hundreds of Amico videos if Tommy wasn't patting him on the back and telling him he was a good boy? Right? They probably would have only gotten 3,000 or 4,000. Yeah, sadly. So, if Tommy wasn't, telling people, what they wanted to hear, if he wasn't telling people, yeah, we're working on Castlevania, yeah, we're working on Contra, sure they're lies, sure that it's not true, but that did get people to be interested. He went wrong going for us versus them. That's where he lost. Yeah, he should have just stayed friends and like, hey, we'll prove you guys wrong, but agree to disagree. I mean, again, personally, me, I really had no interest in the Amico. For those who might be new here, or for those who don't remember, I simply was writing an article on the Roblox oof situation, and Tommy claiming in a comment section that he had lawyers and his lawyers were better than the Roblox lawyers, and he was going to get his money. And I wrote that. I wrote, hey, Tommy's threatening to sue. He's making these claims of lawsuits, and I don't believe it's going to go anywhere because the clip is so small, and the time frame. And California had just had a case where someone had tried to sue over some sounds, and they lost because they took too long. Right. So like that was the extent of my interest in the Amico. Right. And then I was like, oh, well, Tommy's doing this system. Okay. And then I wrote up a little thing, and Tommy didn't like it, and his fans didn't like it, and they started attacking me. And once they attacked me, then I was like, well, let me look into this, right? There's got to be something here. Like, there's no way, Shigeru Miyamoto, Phil Spencer, they're not attacking me when I say things about their consoles. Why is this guy attacking me? And I started looking into it, and boom, now we're here. The Geek Getaway, if you need to say no to someone like Psychic Max, just tell him, wouldn't that be something? He'll raise his hopes up. No, I don't do that. I don't do that. This is the man who spent $100,000 on furniture. We wasn't the problem that sank the ship. And this is true, partially true. Mullis is an Xbox 360 tester. Of course, he supports the Amico. Tommy was out of the picture. Mullis was, yeah, sure. Remove Tommy, and you still have the Three Stooges running the financials. Lord Rakin, 1001 Lives drew you into AA. Yeah. And that's how we met. And that, kids, is how I met your beefy. I was into Amico because of the Ouya and Soldier Boy. 56 says the money trail is the real Amico content. Possibly. But yeah. Big all that to say that without Tommy, I think this thing would have never been as interesting and therefore it never would have gotten the amount of attention, amount of pre-orders, and amount of positive press. Yeah. Can I see Mike Mullis's articles? I want to see how bad they are. We will. We're going to go over that. That's you're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead, Jan. Gotta, you know. The Soviet space program used chalkboards and milk crates for seats for a long time. Yeah, well, that's I met some of my best friends in AA too. Not in AA. AA was Amico, Atari age. I was gonna say Amico age, Atari age. Not Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't drink. 3. Have there been other inquiries from the SEC or other authorities that we don't know about? Well, if we don't know about them, we can't know. This is like a question like, is Tommy getting beat up by his wife that we don't know about? We don't know about it, so it's a moot point. When we know about it, then we'll be like, yeah, there was. Like it's like Schrodinger's inquiries, right? We don't know about them until they're over. So yeah, maybe there's some. I don't think there's any. Tommy would have been a lot more litigious, and he probably would have been throwing a bigger shit fit if there were. Phil Adam and them would definitely not be stringing things along and kicking the can down the road if there were other authority agencies looking into them. So I'm going to say no, there's probably not anymore. Beefy says, I don't think all of these are supposed to be answered. Then don't ask questions. Somebody's seen Oppenheimer. Wouldn't that be something? When do you think we'll hear again from Phil Adam? Will Tommy Tallarico ever talk again? I'm sure we're going to hear from Phil Adam. I want to say September. September sounds good. Because it'll be a month out from 10/10. So I think September he'll give the we're not going to make 10/10 this year, guys. But don't worry, Amico home. There'll be a demo, and then that'll never happen. As far as Tommy, I don't think Tommy's ever going to talk about the Amico again. I think it's a thing that Tommy's ashamed of, and he's never going to ever mention it again. What exactly went down between Arc Electronics and Intellivision Entertainment? This one's an easy one. It's really not that complicated. Intellivision paid Arc Electronics $1 million to secure parts for the Amicos. Okay, they had a manufacturing contract, and they said, "Here's money. Go get the parts." So Arc Electronics did that. They got the parts. Then when it came time to start manufacturing, they said, okay, we're ready. We have the parts. We need to get the lines going. We need to get these things cranked out. Intellivision said, we're not going to do that. We're not financially in a situation where we can manufacture. So, it's not going to happen. Now, what was interesting, right, where everybody seems to be like confused is because Tommy and them thought, well, since we're not manufacturing anymore, we want our $1 million back, right? We gave you $1 million to get parts, to secure parts. We'd like that $1 million back. And Arc said, no, that's not how this works, Tommy. It's not how this works. You don't give us money and we buy parts and then you cancel the contract and then we give you the money back, right? We've already bought the parts. The parts are already bought. And they said, well, give us the parts, right? Well, we'll take the parts. And Arc said, no, that's also not how this works. We secured these parts at a price that we were able to secure because of our name and who we are and how much we order. If you had bought these parts, they would have cost you a lot more. These parts, the amount that we got for the $1 million are ours. And according to the contract, what you paid us to get the parts, if you break the contract, we get to keep them. And that's it. That's literally it. There's nothing more to it. Like there's not a big, huge thing other than Tommy and them throwing a shit fit afterward. Tommy, throwing around, well, we'll sue ARC and, they're screwing us and yada, 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 and trying to play that, this evil Chinese company. No. Phoenix, they front Tommy a kilo and they want the money. Yeah. No, basically, they Tommy and them paid them $1 million. They said, "Hey, go get some drugs from Colombia." They went and got the drugs, and then Tommy's like, "Yeah, I don't feel like being a drug dealer anymore. And can I have my money back?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're not getting your money back." And Tommy's like, "Well, then give me the drugs." They're like, "It's too late for that now. We're not giving you the drugs." That's dumb. Tommy should have at least had the provision that they keep the parts at least. No, that's not how it works, though, Jan. See, again, because the manufacturer is going to get the parts, they're going to get them at a cheaper price because of who they are, right? That's why you go to them. If Tommy secured the parts on his own, it might have cost him $3 million. ARC was able to get it down to $1 million, right? Because the prices were set for ARC. That's why Tommy doesn't get those parts, because they were priced at ARC prices. Do you think they would have told ARC to manufacture if they would have passed the FCC testing? I think if they were actually ready to manufacture, if there was something to manufacture, then yeah. Again, because the software not finished, the OS, the operating system not finished, the UI not finished, nothing was actually finished, right? If they had went ahead and manufactured, they would have had a warehouse of Amicos that were just parts inside a shell, right? They would have had all the parts in the shell. The shells would have been put together, but they would have had no operating systems on them. They would have had no games to be able to play. He can't sell them. They wouldn't have been able to be sold, even with passing FCC, right? Because again, you need the operating system. You need the actual software, right? Without that, you just have a box of parts. I want to know who was the lead hardware engine designer. What's his name? What is his name? There were the two guys that were that Tommy was bragging that he took from another company. They had weird names. Their names are escaping me at the moment. Unable to redesign. I don't think it needed a redesign. That's what I'm saying. I think that it was a Tommy Tallarico cut corners. Part of it is, right, Tommy probably was like, hey, if we add shielding, right, this will fix our problem, right? The shielding here or moving this here, this would fix the problem. They probably were able to fix the problem. They probably did redesign. They probably had that in mind, right? But knowing Tommy and them, they're like, hey, we could pay for this, or we could just get another company to buy us and just pawn it off on them. And I think that's what they were going for, right? Like, hey, at this point, we know it's a dud, so we're going to try to get the dud in someone else's hands. Do you think Intellivision would have succeeded if they just made new games or launched older titles and not made the Amico? The console seems like the bottleneck. This is a weird question. It's weird for a variety of reasons. What do you define as success? Do I think they would have been profitable? Possibly. Do I think they would have been like a huge deal in the gaming? No. They wouldn't have been the fourth console. They wouldn't have been, a huge software company, publisher, developer, nothing. He says, yes, profitable and self-sustaining. I think there was a route. There was a route at one point for them to be self-sustaining and profitable, but they had to scale everything down. Tommy tried to scale everything up to succeed. He really should have scaled down to succeed. Now, they would have been better to try and make new software. Their successes would have been easier to attain. Here's what I don't understand, right? And maybe someone could tell me I'm wrong, right? Because I was thinking about this the other day. So you let me know if this sounds like a dumb idea, because it might be a dumb idea. So you let me know. But I was thinking, why didn't Intellivision re-release rather, the Intellivision Lives? You have the Intellivision Lives collection, right? Why didn't they re-release it as Intellivision Still Lives, right? Intellivision Still Lives. Put it on modern consoles. Include all the games, just like they did in the original collection. Include all the developer stuff, like they did in the original collection. But also, right, include, a new interview with Tommy, talking about the new console, a new interview with some of the developers of the games. And then, now here it is. Here's the key. Instead of putting the demo for Breakout on PC and the demo for Moon Patrol on your cell phones, they could have packed in with the Intellivision Still Lives collection demos for like 5 of their games, right? Here's the Breakout demo. Here's the Moon Patrol demo. Here's the Tank Take demo, the whatever, Finnegan Fox demo, right? They could have said, hey, here's the old games, guys. Here's demos for the new versions of the games. I think they would have at least sold a couple thousand copies. People like us would have bought them, right? We'd be like, hey, let's check out these new games. Check out the demos for the new ones. I think it all comes down to they weren't very comfortable with their product, right? I don't think they actually believed in their product, is what I'm saying. Because Tommy wanted to be a big boy, yeah. CEO cosplay is such a great term, and Ian is forever genius for coming up with it. Yeah. Sorry I wasn't here tonight. Real busy at work. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. We won't fire you yet. First strike. Don't worry. The market for new console never existed, but they stubbornly tried to force it. They confuse people's nostalgia for their past with non-existent demand for a gaming time machine. It doesn't matter. Hardware never went into production. Beefy says, I wouldn't have bought it. I don't care about OG Intellivision. Yeah, you wouldn't have bought it, Beefy, but I think there was enough people that would have bought it, even if it was just 5,000, right? Because the idea would be to have the original Intellivision fans who are going to buy the collection, then see the new games, and then talk about the new games, talk about people, right? The word of mouth. You make a little money because essentially there's no real work. You're just porting over an old games, throwing in a couple demos on it. Minimum work, right? Minimum amount of cost for them to put out a digital collection of Intellivision games on modern consoles. And then add a couple of interviews, add a couple of demos on there. Beefy says, I was the intended market. I agree, would have been okay. But I'm talking about before, forget the whole, we're targeting 3 billion, right? Again, like I'm saying, like if they were smart and they had, scaled down and said, hey, yeah, this is a retro console for retro gamers. That's who we're targeting, right? Yeah. I think then Amico was aiming at grandparents buying them for kids. They should have just rebranded existing hardware. It's not for you, Tommy, to everyone. Yeah. What do you think there is the reason DJC's views for Amico Forever is plummeting? I think the only YouTubers left supporting the console are DJC, Rab, Bacon ice cream, Atari Creep, and Mullis. Everyone left. I think everyone left. All the support has dried up. Tommy's gone. The laughing and pointing at DJC and them, it only goes so far, right? It's like you've kicked them when they're down so many times. It's like it's not fun anymore, right? You can't make fun of the weird kid so much. It's like, now it's getting boring, right? Now, if DJC went and did something stupid and wildly crazy and was like, "Oh my God, guys, I'm announcing that they're coming out with console," yeah, then people would tune in again to laugh at him for his stupidity. I think Intellivision Lives redo would have been a good idea. Intellivision still lives. Phil Adam, if you're listening, you can have that idea. Intellivision still lives. Right? You can have that idea. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to pay me. You can have that. All right. Number 5. Who had the brilliant idea to control what could be said on Atari Age, Reddit, and the current Facebook group? I don't think anyone had the brilliant idea. I don't think it was like there was a meeting and they're like, "Hey guys, we need to control what's said." Again, I think it was a case of Tommy was let loose. Tommy was, in charge of the public outreach. He was the face of the company. Tommy said he can handle it. He knows what he's doing. Don't worry. And then Tommy just did Tommy, right? It's real easy. See, manipulation is real easy. And when you're good at it and when you've done it for so long, and Tommy is good at it and he's done it for a long time, right? What we see the results, right? We're like, oh my God, these guys are, cracking down and they're banning people for no reason. And, the moderators are being unfair. But what you're missing is that Tommy, behind the scenes, Tommy's lying. Tommy is telling stories. Tommy's like, hey, that guy, Beefy? Beefy's been doing this and that. And I know that Beefy's got alt accounts and he's been lying about me. And, that's why you got to make sure that these guys, because they like to get on alt accounts and they like to do all this crazy stuff and they're threatening to kill me. And, they threaten to blow up my house. Right? Tommy's telling these people all these crazy things. Right? It's like Turbo Joe and them, right? Turbo Joe was not out there threatening to beat people up if they came to the Amico event just because, right? I know we want to think like Turbo Joe is unhinged and he's just out there threatening. No, Turbo Joe was out there threatening to beat people up because Tommy was out there telling them that, hey, these guys are saying they're going to show up and they're going to cause trouble and blah, blah, blah. He was putting it in their head that we were going to go there and cause a scene, cause ruckus, and cause destruction and attack people, right? So when they hear these things, they want to react, right? They want to be like, hey, well, if you're going to come here, and cause trouble, we're going to beat you up, right? Tommy was really good at lying to these guys and telling them things, saying things that were completely untrue, but getting people to believe him. I don't know how he did it. I honestly, I don't. I had personally, because I've had many interactions with people who have talked to Tommy before the Amico fiasco, after the Amico fiasco, right? And a lot of people have said, they've apologized to me. They said, hey, Tommy has told me these things. This is the stuff that happened. And this is why I did the thing, because I thought this, Tommy had told me this thing about you. And, I believe them. Right. But there's people that I've known for years, who literally were believing things that Tommy told them. And I'm like, you know me. You've known me for years. Why would you believe Tommy, who you don't know? Tommy's not your friend. Tommy's just some guy that you just met. And you're believing this person over me? Because Tommy was that good. Tommy was that good of a liar. Right? So, as far as whose idea was it? I don't think it was a conscious idea. I think it was Tommy being Tommy, getting into people's ears, and then people having the natural reaction that, hey, we need to put a stop to this because people's families are losing money. You're attacking Tommy, and it's costing people's families, and it's costing people's insurance. Because there was people at Intellivision who were, a little sick. They were on the insurance. Tommy and them, for all their faults, Tommy and them had good insurance at Intellivision Entertainment. That say all the bad things you want, but they actually gave their employees insurance and stuff, right? Was it stupid? Hell yeah. Was it good business? Hell no. But they did it, right? So say what you will. But when you start hearing, hey, we can't afford to pay our insurance premiums because Tony's making negative videos about us, that gets people, upset. That gets people angry. Brawl at too many games. I told them, Mad Max punked out. I said, come on, let's go. He still owes me money. He said, I'm going to drop you a super chat. I ain't seen no super chat yet, Mad Max. It says old grown-up nerds, aka all of us, definitely spend our time getting into physical altercations with other old nerds over video games. 100% a thing we typically do. I do all the time. All the time. I wish. I wanted to do like Digstown. If anyone's ever seen Digstown, I can take 12 Amico shills in one day. I will box and beat 12 Amico shills one day. Line them up. I'll knock them down. That's all I'm saying. If Tommy Tallarico was the 12th man, if I had to box 11 other Amico shills, make my way through them, and then I got to box Tommy at the end, ooh, it'd be so sweet. It can happen. It can happen. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that, right? It wasn't a conscious decision. It was just Tommy doing Tommy, and people reacting the way people naturally react to hearing the things that Tommy tells them. All right, number 6. Man, we're not even halfway through. Describe the rumored pro and anti-Tommy factions within the company during the crowdfunding period. Now, why during the crowdfunding period? I mean, I think you got to there were always going to be pro and anti-Tommy factions, and they probably started off smaller. There was probably like a large pro Tommy and a small anti-Tommy, and it shifted over the years. It is like any company, right? When the company's doing good, the CEO is a fantastic guy. Everybody loves the CEO. When the company's not doing so good, the CEO needs to go. And again, I think E3 was the turning point when, there was probably a small vocal minority going, hey, the ship is heading towards an iceberg. And then E3 happened. They're like, dude, we hit an iceberg. We need to do something. And they got, getting rid of Tommy was the best they could come up with. It's too late at that point, but, All right, number 7. What was Michael Pachter's relationship with the Intellivision company? Was he compensated in any way for his early endorsements? This one, again, this is almost accusatory, right? Look, I'm sure Michael Pachter is an idiot. He makes wild claims about lots of things. Intellivision was not the only wild Michael Pachter claim. He's like 50-50 on his predictions, right? He just makes wild predictions. We know that the company that Michael Pachter worked for also handled the one of the pitch decks for Intellivision, but we don't know when. Right? It's hard to pinpoint when they hired Michael Pachter's company. And it's not Michael Pachter's company. He don't own the company. It's the company that Michael Pachter works for, right? Webbush, something like that. So, and I think if Pachter was being compensated in some way, I think the man is adult enough and he's knowledgeable enough to acknowledge that and be like, hey, I am being paid to endorse Intellivision and actually, market as a sponsorship or a sponsored promotion or whatever you want to call it, right? I don't think Michael Pachter is ruining his life, risking, going to jail for $10,000 of Amico money, right? Come on. Again, we want to make things, like these are just bad people who do terrible, horrible. But come on now. Again, just it's common sense, right? That Michael Pachter makes good money. He's not risking his financial livelihood, his freedom, his reputation, as shitty as it is. None of that for some money under the table, right? And I don't think, unless you're assuming, maybe if Tommy like handed Michael Pachter $10 million, and was like, here you go, I need you to say nice things about Intellivision. But we know that Tommy and Intellivision does not have, fuck you money. He does not have the amounts of money to toss around that is going to make somebody take that risk, right? So I don't think there was no relationship other than Michael Pachter saw this company, thought, hey, I can make a wild prediction, and if I'm wrong, who cares? But if I'm right, that's all that people ever really focus on, right? Is when you're right. You can make 100 wrong predictions, and nobody gives a shit. You make one right one, boom. That's all people care about. And hopefully, my internet was good enough that you guys heard everything I said. Because I see it's going out again. It's acting funny. Why did Tommy buy such expensive furniture? You can easily get them at an auction, liquidation, or surplus. I think, and again, I'm going out on a limb. I think Tommy thought that he could just send it back. I think he thought that he could get the furniture, use it for a couple of videos, and then send it back, and it'd be all copacetic. And didn't work out that way, did it? I honestly think Tommy thinks that he could finesse everybody, and didn't work out. Now we heard, thank God. Thank God. All right, where we at? Number 8. What happened with John Riggs leading up to the announcement of physical product? Was he compensated in any way? Was he coached in what to say and not to say? I mean, what do you mean? What happened? Like, you want like a play-by-play? You want to be the, fly on the wall and know like every conversation that they had? I'm sure Tommy and them were just like, hey, we got this physical product. We want you to be the guy. You want to be the guy that shows it off for the first time. And John Riggs was probably like, yeah, hell yeah. I want to do that. Was he compensated? I'm pretty sure John Riggs is a big enough channel that he would have been like, hey, this is a paid promotion, paid advertisement. Because again, he was just showing off the physical product, right? Let's make no mistake. John Riggs wasn't like selling us. He wasn't like, oh my God, these are so fantastic. He was just like, here it is. Here's the things, right? So if it was a paid commercial advertisement, I don't think it would have really changed anybody's mind. Like, oh man, I was gonna be into that, but then I found out that John Riggs is sponsored. So I want to hope that John Riggs would have slapped a little paid promotion on it if it was compensated. Now, what I do think happened, I'm sure Tommy made promises as far as, hey, John, when we have certain games, we're going to make sure that we get you a copy for review, and when the console's ready, we're going to ship you one. I'm sure that sort of thing happened. Was he coached on what to say and what not to say? I'm sure that there were certain things he was told not to say, or he couldn't say, or hey, this isn't ready, so don't talk about this or don't talk about that. But I don't think that there was anything he was. Well, I'm sure. Let me start again. I am sure John was told certain things, right? Because again, if you review products, if you review uh, anything with a review copy, like when I get review copies, they send a fact sheet, right? They send you a fact sheet, and on that fact sheet are things like the developer name, what consoles it's available for, what how much it cost, when does it come out, here's some highlights, like, hey, it's got 12 levels, it's got 32 bosses, 16 different guns, right? Whatever it is that they like, these are the things that that are what we feel are representative of our product, right? These are representative of our product. That's not coaching. I don't consider that coaching, right? So I'm sure John Riggs got a list of things that he was like, hey, these are our products, and like, you know, uh, it has NFTs, it has this, it's the coin is made out of copper, whatever, right? I am sure there was things that were sent to him. Isn't the physical upload still on the Intellivision channel? I think so. Right? Like I said, I'm sure that there was like a fact sheet sent to him, and I'm sure that there was like certain things that they're like, hey, don't talk about this because it's not ready, or don't talk about this, or don't mention that. Right? And it's part of the agreement because again, when you are reviewing product, when you are reviewing product early, you often are given the heads up on certain things, right? Hey, uh, there's an embargo agreement. There's an agreement when to do it. What you can and can't say. I've played games early, and they're like, "Hey, we don't want to spoil the twist, so you can only talk about what the first 3 levels or the first 3 chapters of the game." Right? Am I a shill because I don't? Well, fuck you! I'm gonna spoil it. Tell you about the entire game, right? Or am I like, yeah, okay, that's understandable, right? I can tell you about the gameplay. I can tell you, about the graphics, sound, the early story, and I'm like, hey, can't tell you about the later part of the story because, embargo agreement, NDA. So again, I think there are things that John were asked not to say. I think there were things that John was shown as far as like, hey, here's some things about the physical product that you might be interested in talking about. I don't think John was like forced to like, hey, you need to say this. Hey, you need to say that. Make sure you say this and that. Now, 5 reasons uploads taken down because he wasn't paid for that one. Physical products, but you can't play them yet. Yeah. Jesse says Tony, his physical product upload was 100% coached. If things were said to him, then he's coached. No, because that's not how it works. Again, everybody who reviews product is given a fact sheet about the product. The maker of said product wants to make sure that you know about the product, right? So I'm sure Tom, again, saying, hey, these are biodegradable boxes, is that coaching? If Tommy's like, hey, John, those boxes are biodegradable, it's not coaching. That's it's literally informing him about the thing, right? Coaching would be like, hey, make sure you tell them that this is super awesome biodegradable and it's the best biodegradable ever. And make sure that you note that 3 Native Americans, signed off on this. Right? That would be coaching, right? And when you start telling them to like bullshit and lie, that's coaching. But like I said, just giving you the facts, the actual facts, not the Tommy facts, but the actual facts on a product, it's not coaching. Smash AT and John Riggs, yeah, they are, because it's the same facts. If you look at like the PlayStation 5 reveal, right? when people talk about when they reviewed it, there's a lot of it's going to be the same because it's the exact same product, right? If you review a baseball bat, I say here's a baseball bat. It's a Louisville Slugger. It was made in a plant in Mississippi. So I got this Louisville Slugger bat made in a plant in Mississippi. It's made out of oak wood. It's a standard size bat. It weighs 3.56 pounds. Hey, that's it. Those are facts. And if somebody else reviewed the bat, they would say the exact same things because that's what it is. It is the thing that I'm saying. It is how I'm describing it. Right? Now, the other stuff, like, oh, this bat feels better than this other bat, that's different. Right? That's when you start going into that's no longer facts. That's opinions. That's part of the review. But there are facts, and those facts should be consistent. Right? Because it is what it is. You know, it's physical product. It's a biodegradable box. It comes with a coin. It comes with the RFID card. It comes with a little lenticular card. Right? That's what it is. Here's the front of it. Here's the back of it. Here's what it looks like. These are the games that are available. They come in 4-packs. They come in 8-packs. They cost X amount of money. You can buy them here. Right? It's going to be the same across the board. John Riggs and MJR admitted to signing an NDA with MJR saying he wasn't about promoting the Amico at the time. He did promote the Polymega while Riggs paid to promote the Amico. Again, you're making assumptions. They signed NDAs at E3 when they saw the Amico at E3 prior to the Amico being shown to the public. That's what they signed the NDA for. There was not an NDA for life. It wasn't like an NDA forever. It was just for that one particular event. Right? You don't know that John Riggs was paid. You're making assumptions, Justy. Unless you can show me proof. If you can say that here's John Riggs saying I was paid to promote the Amico, or here's a video of Tommy or John Phil Adam or John Alvarado or somebody at Intellivision going, we paid John Riggs to promote the Amico. Without those things, you are just saying words. You have no substance. You have no proof, no evidence. You're making accusations. Now, if you want to do your due diligence, if you want to investigate and call people up, interview people, email people, actually do the legwork to find out whether or not what you're saying is true, go right ahead, Justin. But to just make the accusation, not good. It's not good. It's not good for society. Why were there no manuals made for the physical product? Because that costs money. Tommy claimed it was because the games were simple and they didn't need manuals, right? It's a simple game, so you don't need manuals. The fact of the matter is it costs money, right? You're gonna have to get manuals printed up, made, then they're gonna have to be shipped over to the people that are making the physical product. Whereas what they put in there was real simple. Spit out a whole bunch of cards, spit out a whole bunch of coins, spit out a bunch of lenticular cards, call it a day, put them in a box. MGR in the interview, when he admitted to the NDA, said that at E3 is when influencers negotiate what is getting promoted. Yes. But John Riggs, again, you're taking what people are saying and you're applying it to something else. There are lots of people that go to E3. There's lots of products at E3 that their negotiations are had at E3. This is 100% correct. They're had at too many games. They're had at everywhere. Anywhere there's a convention where there's product being displayed, being introduced to the world, and there's influencers there will be negotiations made between those two parties. That does not mean that a negotiation happened between John Riggs and Intellivision. Doesn't mean that they agreed to something. It doesn't mean anything. Did John Riggs possibly have a conversation in which they asked him that if he would be interested? Sure. Does that mean that they signed an agreement and did it? No. So again, you're not bringing facts. You're bringing supposition. You're bringing, hey, that's water. Therefore, John Riggs got paid to promote Canada Dry. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. And Metal Jesus, they signed NDAs to look at the thing. Obviously, they were probably like, hey, are you interested? Because we're going to be looking for people to promote it. And Metal Jesus probably like, nah, it's not, it's not for me. Maybe John Riggs was like, well, I don't know, Tommy. Call me back in 3 months when you got something working, right? Maybe John Riggs was just more friendly about it. I don't know. I wasn't there. And again, unless John Riggs or somebody else says, I saw them sign a contract, I saw the contract, or I did get paid, or yes, we did pay John Riggs. We got nothing. We got nothing. I don't work on accusations, right? If I did, then I'd probably have a lot more subscribers and I'd have a lot more viewers to the channel. But because I work on facts, it is what it is. All right, number 9. What made Tommy Tallarico think mortgaging his house for this project was a good idea? And what made him finally shut up and go into hiding? Did he take enough back from the loan repayments from the company to be financially whole again? Wow, that's a lot of questions. Do we know that Tommy mortgaged his house for this project? I don't know that. I don't know what Tommy's financial situation was prior to the Amico. I don't know what Tommy's financial situation is post Amico. Not all of it's public. Did he mortgage his house? Yes. Did he do it for the Amico? I don't know. There could have been other things, other issues going on prior to all this. Financial trouble, right? There's rumors that the cars were leases. There's rumors that I think he mortgaged his house twice or refinanced the house twice or something like that prior to the Amico. So maybe it was just a thing that Tommy did every like 5 years or something. I don't know. What made him finally shut up and go into hiding? Well, obviously, when he was ousted from the company, ousted as CEO, that's what made him shut up, go into hiding. He was no longer allowed to be the face of the company. And of course, he does not want to admit any of that. He doesn't want to take any L's, so he's just going to ignore it. Did he take back enough from the loan repayments from the company to be financially whole again? That's working off the assumption that the first thing is true. And I don't know if the first thing is true. And I don't know if he got back everything. We'd only seen the financials for 2 years. We never got the 2021 financials. So again, it's hard to say. We don't know. Tommy could have sunk more money into it. Justin Views says, so why is John Riggs' physical product upload on Intellivision channel while he scrubbed his entire channel of the Amico? It's common knowledge that as well that Riggs is a paid content creator. Haha, I was behind 2 minutes. I don't know. He obviously John Riggs does not control what goes up on the Intellivision channel. Maybe there was an agreement as part of, hey, we'll let you show off the physical product, but we're going to put it on our channel too. And so when John Riggs is like, shit, this looks bad, I want to take it off my channel. Intellivision's like, we're under no obligation to take it off of our channel. Remember, Retro Bro reached out and was like, hey, you need to take down those videos with me in them or edit me out. And Intellivision's like, no, screw you. It's the same situation, right? They took videos down off of their channels, the X shills, but Intellivision kept theirs up. And as far as I know, they didn't get paid to be part of those videos. They didn't get paid to have their stuff clipped and put in there. So, again, you're looking for, you're hearing hooves, you're hearing the sound of hoof beats, and you keep looking for zebras instead of thinking horses. horses, right? Sometimes it's just a simple answer. You know, it's not complicated. It's not nefarious. It's just really simple. Let me see. I'm going to go to the Intellivision channel right now to go see if this upload is up there. Physical box edition product reveal. That's John Alvarado and them. This John Alvarado and Tommy. There is no Riggs video on the Intellivision channel. You got the Hans sneak peek, the Tommy and John reveal, and that's it. You have the influencer video that has John Riggs and Metal Jesus and a couple other people in it, but there's no dedicated John Riggs video on the Intellivision channel. So I think you're wrong. And so this is not true. The physical product upload is not on the Intellivision channel. Okay, let's agree to see the funny in this. Smash JT paid Intellivision and his video isn't up there. Well, neither is John Riggs. Nobody's video is up there. There isn't a single video on the Intellivision channel that is from anyone else other than Intellivision. So again, I don't know. There's the video that you're probably thinking has John Riggs' face in the thumbnail, and that's the 2019 influencer video, but it's not a John Riggs video. He's just in the video. That's just the thumbnail that YouTube put on it because they uploaded it and didn't edit in a thumbnail. Because if you look at some of their videos don't have thumbnails, right? They just whatever the video clipped, like, oh, that's where it took the thumbnail from. Because YouTube automatically does thumbnails. You know, it just takes a timestamp. You know, a percentage of the way in is like, okay, that's your thumbnail. Now some of them have thumbnails, but some of them do not. And again, there is not a John Riggs video. What I saw it there a month ago. Looking for a clip. If it's not up, then okay, I'm wrong. It's not up there. What do I think went wrong with Intellivision? They had big names from the video game industry and had money too. Why did they fail? Because they had a shit product. They had shit financials. They did not have a clear understanding of the gaming industry. They did not have a clear understanding of what they needed to do to release a product. And they did not have a clear plan as to what to do when they had the product released. Tommy was really good at it. Hey, wouldn't it be something? And, you know, as soon as we get it out there, people are going to snap it up. But remember, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, you know, when they release a console, you know, there's a big lead up. There's lots of press. There's lots of promotion. When it's launched, there's lots of press. There's lots of promotion, lots of commercials. They didn't have any of that. They didn't have nothing. There was no plan. Tommy just thought it existing should have been enough. They didn't have the money. It takes lots and lots of money. Microsoft had to spend millions of dollars. All the console makers are lost leaders, right? The Switch, I think, is the first Nintendo console that's not a lost leader. They're not breaking even. They're making money. So, you know, Tommy thought he was going to change the whole way that video game consoles work, that he was going to make money on the Amico. And no, you make money on software. You lose money on hardware in order to get a user base, in order to make money on software, right? It does no good to make $100 on every console if you only sell 1,000 of them, right? It's better to make $10 on every game you sell on 100,000 consoles than to make $100 on 1,000 consoles, right? Because remember, with every game you sell, that's $10 more per game. Per game. More consoles out there, the bigger the bigger the pond, the more fish you reel in. Tommy just couldn't understand that. Tommy thought that, you know, we make money on the console, that it was somehow going to save the industry. All right. Now, number 10. What really happened with Jay Allard Perrin Kaplan, Chuck LaBella, and other prominent name drops. To what extent were they actually involved? Now, we know what happened with Jay Allard. He got hired, he showed up, it was a shit show, and he left. Perrin Kaplan never actually worked for Intellivision. Perrin Kaplan owns a PR marketing firm, Zebra Partners, that Intellivision hired. Intellivision gave money to a company to do PR work for them. She was never part of the company. She probably was okay with them using her name because they were paying her to do the PR. But as soon as they stopped paying her, she's like, hey, take me out. Chuck LaBella, probably the same thing. They hired him. He was like, hey, I'm fine. You pay me money. I go out and look for celebrities to see if they want to market, Intellivision. When Chuck came back, was like, hey, no celebrity's interested in partnering with you. No celebrity wants to get anywhere near the Intellivision brand. They're probably like, hey, we're going to stop paying you money. And then he left. I mean, again, it's really not complicated. They D-list celebrity really wants to make it like there's like nefarious things going on and all these people were backstabbing each other and Tommy's out there screwing people around and, fights in the office. And no, it was really just we paid people money and when we stopped paying them, they stopped doing the job. All right, number 11. Is there an individual from inside the company we could actually trust to provide factual, truthful answers to some of these questions? Yeah, there's plenty of people within the company. Plenty. Again, he's framing this question as if every single person that works for Intellivision is like some lying scumbag that's never going to tell the truth. There's plenty of people. They had a whole buttload of people working for them unnecessarily that I'm sure at some point will be willing to talk. To what extent is Intellivision Amico actually a scam pulled on Tellurico and Friends by Design Central, Arc Electronics, Merv Furniture Licensing, and Nick Rad Ride Dudes Richards? Again, it's just weird. How is Design Central scamming Tommy? Tommy paid them to design a console. Tommy liked what they designed. They got paid. Tommy got a console design. There's no scam. There was no scam there. Arc Electronics. Tommy paid them money to buy parts to secure manufacturing. When the time came to manufacture, Tommy wasn't ready. Arc kept the parts. Tommy didn't get his money back per contract. Furniture licensing. They licensed furniture. Tommy didn't pay. No one was pulling the wool over anybody's eyes. There was no scam involved in any of those. As far as Nick Richards, I'm sure Nick might have not believed in the product at some point, and he was just collecting a paycheck. But does that mean he was scamming Tommy? It's weird. It's a weird question. Will any of these people face any form of accountability? Any form? Yeah, sure. There's going to be some forms of accountability, personal accountability. They already face the accountability of the retro gaming community. They faced our wrath, right? But I mean, as far as like legal, I'm not sure. A lot of what they did was very on the edge of legality, right? Very fine line. And I'm sure they could be taken to court by some people, but will they win? Maybe, maybe not. It depends. Yeah. Again, it's not like Tommy was standing over a dead body holding a smoking gun, right? And then we could be like, yeah, Tommy killed somebody. He needs to be accountable. This was like somebody died in Tommy's house and Tommy was on vacation. You're like, well, I think it looks bad, but I can't really prove Tommy had anything to do with it, right? Well, that was the 13 questions. We went over them. Hopefully, I provided some answers. Hopefully, you guys can sleep just a little bit better knowing that Tommy did his best. He tried his hardest. Tried his damnedest. All right. Let's get back to some real gaming news. This comes from GameIndustry.biz. All right. ESRB asked FTC to approve facial estimation age checker. The proposal claims the technology is more reliable than other methods of parent verification. I do not like this one bit. Not one bit. This comes from Jeffrey Rousseau. Says the ESRB has proposed that the FTC greenlight facial age estimation technology as a method of verification. In collaboration with digital identity firm Yoti, Epic Games subsidiary, and software company Super Awesome, the proposed claims that the private protective facial age estimation is said to accurately determine a person's age. The process steps of verification include the user take a photo of themselves. The system then checks if there's a live human face in the frame. The image is then uploaded to Yoti's backend server for estimation. Regarding safety concerns for those who use technology, including minors, the proposal said images are immediately permanently deleted and not used by Yoti for training purposes. Additionally, the document claims that facial age estimation does not present a substantial risk to parents' privacy or potential biases. The proposal also said, quote, to the extent that there is any risk, it is easily outweighed by the benefits of consumer and businesses of using this facial age estimation method. That's it. And that's a short little article, but I think this is really dumb. Really dumb. There's no way that a facial age checker, facial estimation age checker is going to be able to accurately know the age of people in a certain demographic, right? When it comes to millennials, with a lot of people who are not sure of who they are, right? With a lot of people who are not sure of who they are, it's going to be really weird and really hard for the age checker to, make an accurate estimation. Now, they didn't really go over how it's working, if it's a computer program making this, if it's just somebody at the company looking at a picture going, yeah, it looks about 18. And if the computer's, what is it basing it on? Like me myself, I've had a mustache and beard since like 15. Is a mustache and beard going to make the age checker think that the person's older? Is being clean shaven with a baby face like Rabbit Dude, is it going to make the estimation think that they're younger? No, he's going to lock Rabbit Dude out of his account and not going to be able to play Call of Duty because they think he's a youngin. I think there's going to be all kind of problems, especially when it comes to certain minorities. We know that computers sometimes have trouble reading the features of darker individuals. I know that there was issues with, the computers not turning on for certain people in order to make fountains and stuff activate. So this could be a whole host of problems, just because a couple of people are faking their age. And again, what is to stop me from getting someone who's older, right? Hey, Fred, come over here and put your face. And let me take a picture of you and send it in, and they'll verify that I'm 18 when I'm really 15, right? Especially because they're deleting. They say they're deleting these pictures. And they're not saving them to reference them. They're not saving, hey, we know that this is the person that tied to this account, right? Tony's image is this person, right? Because it's not being saved. So there's no way of knowing that, I could just take a picture of my dad and send it in and be like, there you go. My dad is obviously old. Boom, you unlock my account, right? It just sounds dumb. It sounds like a hassle. And it sounds unnecessary. What's up, Wisp? Yan says, what annoyed me with Amico forever is they love to speculate when they had access to Tommy, Phil, Nick, and John. When asked why they just don't ask them, they said they don't want to bother them. Yeah, I think they probably were told to stop bothering them. They might have asked them at one point, and they're like, hey, we can't tell you. And I think they got the hint not to ask. That's my hope, anyway, because the other answer is that they're malicious assholes who don't care and want to screw over the consumer. And I want to hope that they're not. All right, this comes from Metro. Sonic Mania 2 never happened because Sega thinks 2D graphics don't sell. Ooh, Sega. Anyone holding out hope that there might one day be a Sonic Mania 2 will be disappointed to know that it never really had a chance. With opinions still divided over Sonic Frontiers, the only universally praised Sonic the Hedgehog game since the Mega Drive era is 2017's Sonic Mania, a mixture of updated older stages combined with brand new ones. The irony for Sega is that it had relatively little to do with Sonic Team and was instead developed by a group of fans led by Christian, Taxman Whitehead, and the studio Headcanon, who have proved to have a far greater understanding of the magic behind the games than Sega themselves. Give the critical reception alone, you would have thought a sequel was guaranteed, but it never happened, and now Whitehead has explained why. And it's primarily because both he and Sega think 2D pixel art doesn't sell. It is true that the game didn't seem to sell as well as others, less acclaimed Sonic titles, and according to Whitehead, both he and Sega were convinced that the follow-up would need to move beyond traditional 2D artwork. Rather than start work on a sequel to Mania, they discussed ideas that would go on to form the basis of the recently announced Sonic Superstars, which is similar in concept to Sonic Mania, but with 3D graphics, but still 2D gameplay, and 4-player co-op. There was a period after the development of Sonic Mania when we worked with them to consider concepts for the next generation of classic Sonic, producer Takashi Iizuka told Game Informer. It is too bad that it didn't become a finished game. Still, I'm pleased that the next generation of classic Sonic that we talked about with them has been achieved with Superstars. Headcanon isn't directly involved with Sonic Superstars, and instead, Japanese developer Arzest has taken on the task of replicating the controls and movement of Mega Drive games in 2D game with 3D graphics, just as Whitehead suggested. When you make a 2D game using pixel art, you kind of end up targeting a very specific core audience, says Lazuka. We wanted to bring this game to as many people as possible, and in order to really make it look and feel appealing to a wider audience, we needed to use 3D assets to really give it the current look. Ooh, isn't that what Tommy was saying? Didn't Tommy say that 2D games, 2D sprite games were not appealing to the modern crowd? The younger generation didn't like it. Seems like Sonic and Tommy were on the same page. It's funny because with all the 2D sprite-based games coming out, all the indies, all those titles, so good, so good. But Sega's got their head up their ass. Plus, all you Sonic fanboys are not buying the good Sonic games. You're buying the crappy 3D ones. That was your problem. All right. Time to move on to the polls, baby. We had some polls. And as always, we're going to go over them and see what you guys have to say about certain things. It looks like nobody asked me anything, so that's fantastic. I don't have to worry about that. All right. All right. So 5 days ago, I said the reviews I'm working on are Solvars, which I did get done, 1980X, which is on the back burner, and Krizazi, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Knights of the Cross, which should be done by tomorrow. So by tomorrow night, I should have that review up and on the channel. I did get a review copy of it. I am enjoying it. It is a very interesting RPG / card / strategy game. It's got a unique mechanic. When I talk about it more in depth in the review, you'll understand. That said, would you rather play a short, under 5-hour game, hard game, or a long 60-hour plus easy game? We had 68 votes. In the lead was the short, hard game, 32%. The long, easy game at 28%, and neither at 10%. Someone doesn't like games, and both at 29%. Ooh, so second place, both long, easy games, last place. I myself would prefer a long, easy game. Short, hard games, even though they're hard, once you beat them, that's it. It's over with. A longer game, at least there's more to do, right? But like I said, a shorter game, not much to do. Once it's over, it's over. Let's see what the comments have to say. 16 comments. Emma Shuru, probably butchering that, says, I grew up on JRPGs, so long and easy is all I know. Belster says, I would prefer the easy game depending on how easy it is. If it is just a walking simulator or something, I would rather play the hard game. But if it's a game with some very minor challenge, give me the easy, long game. Some harder games let you go back to earlier levels and you can practice and maybe collect items. And if the game is very hard, you won't complete it in 5 hours anyway. Like all the old Game Boy games I used to play felt way longer than they really are. Tommy Umiko says 5 hours becomes 20 when he dies so often. Joseph Santos says Dimension Shell Shock will be the most poorly appreciated potential classic for years to come, just like Shredder's Revenge. That was an interesting aside, but okay. Easy peasy for me, says Myself in Comics. All right. Second poll question. Only 29% of the votes. Look at that, only 29 votes. Said, which would you rather have? Pizza or arcade 1-up? The choices were a Chicago-style deep dish pizza or a Pac-Man arcade 1-up machine. Unfortunately, 55% of you said Chicago-style deep dish pizza, getting that pizza pie. Pac-Man getting no love, even from the retro community. No love for the Pac-Man arcade 1-up. See what the comments are. 11 comments here. 50 Deep 187 says, I prefer a South Florida special, a Cuban pizza, but I'll settle for a Chicago pie. What is a Cuban pizza? Albert, if you can, please explain what is a Cuban pizza. Is it a toppings? Is it like a Hawaiian pizza where it's certain toppings? Is it a style? Is it, deep dish? Is it thin crust, thick crust, stuffed crust? I got to know. I got to know. Make the best of what's around. 3113 says Chicago deep dish is the king of pizzas. I agree. Chicago deep dish is the best. Love it. Pizza beer thumbs up from Squealer Pig, who hasn't been around, but showed up for this one. Myself in Comics says pizza, even if it looks gross. It does not look gross. It looks delicious. You Super J says not for Pac-Man. You got to sit down Star Wars and we'll talk. No love for the Pac-Man. All right. Members only. Ask us anything. Zero questions. Nobody has any questions for us. Haunted Wisp says, I want that booty. Dang. Wisp. And BP says, I voted pizza because his wife told him no Pac-Man. No Pac-Man. All right. And 33 votes. Do you want us to cover the John Hancock Humble Museum? Choices were, yes, it needs to be exposed. No, it isn't even real. 18% said no, don't cover it. It's not even real. 82%, yes, it needs to be exposed. You want to expose that John Hancock Humble Museum. Well, here's the thing about that John Hancock Museum. It's a thing. It exists. It's real. It has an address. You can go visit it. So let's transition over to some John Hancock Humble Museum. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. It has a website. There is a website for the Humble Museum. Here it is. Northwest Video Game Museum. The art and stories of gaming. So it is. The art and history of the cultural phenomenon. Gaming has evolved from a virtual tennis match to an industry that dwarfs film and entertainment. The Northwest Video Game Museum will endeavor to bring to life the stories behind the games we love. Whether you grew up with Pac-Man Fever or Master Chief, the games you know and love will be on display. Founded by well-known game collector John the Immortal Hancock, whose immortality is widely proclaimed online. The museum will feature unique items like complete collections of games released for console, unusual related collectibles, and hard to find items you've definitely never seen before. Man, I should donate my Amico shell. That would be a unique item. You think John Hancock will pay me for my Amico shell to put in the museum? That would draw a crowd. The museum is still in the planning phases and is scouting Northwest locations that might suit the exhibits we want to share with our world. The museum has obtained a 501c3 tax-exempt status with the IRS and has created its initial board of directors. Business plans and funding are being solidified, and this will be your page to find out more as we progress. And you got a P.O. box, and there you go. The Humble Museum, it exists. It's real. It's a real museum. They have tax-exempt status. It is active. It is an active corporation right now in Washington, Seattle. Seattle, Washington? Is it Washington? I'm pretty sure it's Washington. Yeah, Washington. Now, they're the about what's happened so far. Entity has been formed, 501c3 designation acquired, strategic planning begun. What we have, future contribution of the Hancock collection as a strong beginning for our display items, and they have a board of directors. What we need, confirmed funding, suitable location and displays, board member with experience in museum operations, and partnerships in the industry. They need those industry partnerships, baby. Of course, nothing on the blog section, and you have a contact section. This is a page with some basic contact information, such as an address and phone number. You may also try a plugin to add contact form. So there you go. They couldn't even finish the website. This is like the basic stuff that's already free on the website. When you use WordPress. So I mean, it's got a web page, real. They got 501c tax exempt status. So I don't know what you guys are complaining about. Why are you giving John Hancock a hard time? He's just a humble museum curator. It's hard work. Hard work. What the hell am I looking at here? Why you be sending me stuff, Tommy Amico, in the middle of a live stream? Oh shit! Tommy's trying to expose me. Stop sending me shit, Tommy. Not while I'm busy. I'm busy at work. Busy working, Mr. Amico. All right. One last thing before we go. Actually, two last things. Two last things before we go. hold on. We got to click on some links here so we can discuss some of them things that we was talking about. All right. There we go. Let me see. Bear with me for a second. All right. Exposed. First thing we got is I promise you some arcade 1-up news, and here you go. So 26 days ago, our not so good friend, your average gamer, UAG, uploaded an "I'm sorry" message to the arcade 1-up community video. But as you can see, that video is unavailable. He made an apology, and then he took his apology back. He said, "Hey, I am not sorry for screwing over the community. I am not sorry for trying to hit on a man's wife and offer her a arcade 1-up cabinet for sexual favors." It's kind of weird. I don't think I've ever heard of somebody retracting an apology video before. Have you been watching the Billy Mitchell drama? Funny stuff, except that he sues anybody who talks about him. I have not. I know that Billy Mitchell is crazy, and he's very litigious. But I really don't have any interest in Billy Mitchell, to be honest. It's like, he lied about doing his scores. Okay. I was never big in the high score community, never big in hey, I want to be the best at Pac-Man. I want to be the best at at Donkey Kong. Right? I'm just I like play. So yeah, he's doing depositions and making up all kind of stuff. Well, that's a little more interesting. And maybe I'll look into it. Remind me, Ludo. Send me a Twitter DM or something, because I am very forgetful. I say I'm going to do things, and as soon as I turn the stream off, I forget all about it. So his legal stuff all seems to be falling apart. Yeah, like I said, we'll definitely cover it. I'm not afraid of lawsuits. I'm not afraid of Billy Mitchell or anyone else trying to sue us. No one sues the Frog King. Lots of threats. No follow through. That's what I'm saying. All right. I promised you some quality journalism. So we're gonna get in our time machines. We're gonna rewind the clock, and we're going all the way back, baby, to 2005. Can you feel the excitement? Can you feel it? Next Level Gaming. That's right. www.nlgaming.com. This is where all your gaming needs. How do I get a woman in bed with me tonight? Well, you have a wife, so I'm not going to tell you that. Potion says, I've been watching Carl Jobst on it. Funny stuff indeed. Yeah. I don't want to get you into trouble. I've never been in trouble. We've been together 14 years. Here's what I suggest you do, Noah. Take some bread, some lunch meat, and throw them in the bed. Your wife will have her natural womanly instinct take over, and she will dive onto it and start making you a sandwich. Then she will be in your bed. Can you see me? I can see you, Justy. I can see you. But now we're talking about something better. And I know we got this featured article, Call of Duty 2 review, but that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at the Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Next Level Gaming's official Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories video game review. Grand Theft Auto for the PSP finally arrives. And would you think you were playing a PlayStation 2 game? Posted by Michael Mullis on 10/28/2005 at 12:26:01 a.m. All right, let's get into it. As you can see, first off, it is very, very cluttered. I hope this is just a result of the archive and it wasn't originally posted like this, because it seems really smushed together. Really smushed. I dress up as a dish every Halloween. My life was doing dishes. Yeah. My internet is worse than Tony's. It's that heat wave. It's that heat wave. That heat wave. All right, let's get into it. So if you're familiar with Liberty City Stories, you can verify the information being presented here. If you are not familiar, well, Michael Mullis is going to tell us why we should or shouldn't buy this particular game. All right, so aren't handheld game ports supposed to be scaled down partial shells of their console counterparts? Someone forgot to tell Rockstar this. When we first heard that Rockstar Games was going to bring their now infamous and most controversial Grand Theft Auto series to the Sony PSP, we weren't quite sure what to expect. Okay, so first off, Liberty City Stories is scaled down. It's not a full Grand Theft Auto game, right? Liberty City Stories is a smaller Grand Theft Auto game. So already within the first sentence is wrong. It's just wrong, right? I mean, how do you like just go into it? He just led right into it on the wrong foot. PSP GTA was dope as fuck. It was pretty good. They eventually released it on the PlayStation proper. I think it was a collection of the two. Was it like the Ballad of Gay Tony and that was the other one? Was it Liberty City Stories, or was it like was there a subtitle? Let's see. Let me look it up. Let me look it up so we're accurate as to what's going on here. All right. Okay, so we had Vice City Stories, was eventually a follow-up to that game. All right, so the compilation was Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City, and that contained the 2 episodes from Grand Theft Auto. It contains both The Lost and the Dam and the Ballad of Gay Tony on one disc. And the other one had, what the hell is it? I'm just reading real quick. All right. So let's get back to the article. Also, they're now infamous and most controversial. I don't know if they're most controversial. That's like implying that they have another series that's controversial. Like, well, it's weird. Probably just be they're now infamous and controversial, or they're now controversial. Because I mean, it's infamous and controversial, so like almost the same thing. I'm being a little nitpicky, but that's what I do. That's what I do. Ballad and the Bikers were GTA 4 disc. Okay. Yes, the PSP was a powerful system, but enough for Grand Theft Auto? Sure, they'd bring out a handheld version that was maybe 70% of the PS2 games before it, or they'd go back to the 2D format that they used pre GTA 3. The game simply couldn't be as good. It's the PSP. Well, welcome to Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. You know, right now, somewhere the development team at both Rockstar Games and Rockstar Leeds, developers of Max Payne, GBA, and Midnight Club Dub, are sitting back and laughing. Probably smoking a cigar, slapping a girl on an ass. Because they just accomplished something that even we didn't think was possible. They brought the GTA series to the Sony PSP with almost no difference in quality. Well, the almost no difference part is pretty significant, right? Because it's literally the thing that you said that the scaled down partial shells. That's what the almost no difference is. And I mean no corner cutting, no graphics downgrades, no control compromises. This is by far one of the most impressive consoles to handheld ports that has come to the Sony PSP. There's no dual analog stick on the PSP. I'm sure he's aware of this. I'm sure. Whatever. This is a game that draws a distinct line between this and every other handheld on the market today. Why would this game draw a line between this game and every other handheld? Shouldn't it be this game and every other game on handheld? Every other handheld game? Now you're comparing the games to the consoles? It's a weird line. In fact, right now, only 2 games that I've seen on any handheld which are exactly like the console versions are this and X-Men 2 from Activision. When I first fired up this game, I immediately thought to myself, this is near identical GTA 3. And I was right. Why did he quote himself? He quoted what he thought. That's a thought quote. You're writing this. You don't quote yourself when fuck. Well, except that this is a brand new story, and for the first time ever, it has multiplayer. Grand Theft Auto multiplayer? We'll get to that. Grand Theft Auto multiplayer? Wow. Some of these sentences are just really shitty. You shouldn't start with a because. That's just bad form. None of this. First off, there's like 2 paragraphs in here, and somehow he's smushed them into one. Bad syntax, bad grammar, some weird sentences. It's just bad. All right, story. Welcome back to Liberty City. Period. Welcome back to Liberty City. That's his whole sentence. The city that really got the era of Grand Theft Auto started is once again revisited. Okay. Liberty City Stories, Classic Liberty City. Liberty City Stories, Classic Liberty City. The fuck does that even mean? I will give $5 to somebody explain this sentence to me. Liberty City Stories, Classic Liberty City. Somebody, make it make sense. Make it make sense. I'm out. No more monster. Seriously, what the hell is this sentence? This needs to be at what eventually one day in the future, in the far, far future, Mike Mullis will have passed peacefully in his sleep. And this quote needs to be on his tombstone. Liberty City Stories, Classic Liberty City. It's the behind the story. Yeah, I don't know what this means. Like it doesn't make sense. Is there there's not even a verb in there. maybe they're supposed to be in his. Maybe Liberty City Stories is classic Liberty City. Maybe he missed the is. Noah Jetty says, "Oh, I know that killed it for me. Lack of a second stick. Big oof." That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like there's obviously control compromises because you only got one analog stick. It's not even really an analog stick. It's sort of a stick. It's at least the original. I haven't played the updated model, but the original one was like it's like a kind of a stick, but not really. It was almost like a dial. Yeah. It's literally that before he met Apo. What he might mean is the game depicts the real life Liberty City, which is New York. I don't think that's what he means. All right. Taking place 3 years prior to the events of Grand Theft Auto 3, scorned wise guy Tony Soprani has just returned to Liberty City after having been forced into exile for killing a made man as a favor to mob boss Salvatore Leone. Wow, that's you go from sentences that are like 4 words to a sentence that's like half the fucking paragraph. It should be Liberty City Stories takes place 3 years prior to the events of Grand Theft Auto. It stars Tony Soprani, a wise guy who has just returned to Liberty City. Tony is returning because from a forced exile after he had killed a man on the behest of mob boss Salvatore Leone. See, I mean, it's real simple to make this flow better, sound better. With the dust settled, the Leones welcomed Tony back and put him to work as one of their toughest mob soldiers. The rest is up to you. That's not the story. That's not the motherfucker. Okay, so that's literally like okay. So we went from phrases like DJC to a novel like Rab. Yeah. When you review a game, right? Yes, it is. No, it's not the story. God damn it! It is what happens. It is the events up to the game, right? This is the. It'd be like, what is Godfather about, right? If you're like, I'm going to review the movie The Godfather, and I say, well, The Godfather is about a mob boss who has a family. And he controls New York. He's the head mobster of New York, and he has a son that works for him, and another son that doesn't work for him, and he doesn't want to be involved in the mob. That's the Godfather movie, and you're like, no, like that's not the movie. That's the little bit, like that's the intro. GTA 3 intro was being broken. Yes, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, when you play the game, more things happen, right? Things happen in the game. Literally, there's 3 paragraphs on the Wikipedia page that tell you the plot of the game. Okay. He didn't mention any of the other characters. Okay. He doesn't mention the other mob bosses. He doesn't mention what happens. He's not talking about the story of the game. He's literally just putting PSP game was a prequel. This article was written by them. I understand it. Again, Noah. What I'm saying is, okay. So let me read the plot from the Wikipedia. It says in 1998, Leone mobster Antonio Tony Soprani, forced to live abroad for 4 years following his murder of a made man, returns home to Liberty City. His boss, Don Salvatore Leone, welcomes him back and assigns him to work under another Leone mobster, Vincenzo Lucky Silly, who despises Tony, and a former member of the Sudoku family looking to switch allegiances, J.D. O'Toole. At the same time, Tony finds that his mother disapproves of his low rank in the Leone family and is forced to stay away from her when she calls a hit on him. After Tony escapes being arrested on a job, he quickly discovers Vincenzo seeks to take his place within the Leone family. Vincenzo later leads Tony into another ambush to be killed, resulting in Tony escaping the trap and killing Vincenzo in revenge. Following Vincenzo's death, Salvatore begins to personally assign work to Tony, including looking after his trophy wife, Maria. That's the first paragraph of the plot of the game on Wikipedia. Okay? That has more information as to what actually happens in the game that he's talking about than the thing that Mr. Mullis wrote. GTA protagonist was unnamed. I understand that. But again, if I were to tell you what Star Wars is about, there's obviously there's missions in GTA Liberty City Stories. There's missions, there's a plot, there's things that happen. This is not the things that happen in the game. This is the things that you're told up to the game, right? This is like the opening cutscene information, is what I'm saying. The part where it's, the last line, the rest is up to you. That's the part that he should be talking about. What is the rest? What is the rest that happens in the game? It's like he didn't play the game, or he just drove around in circles, right? There is a plot. It's not just, nothing happens, right? There's no plot. You just wander around Liberty City. Tony, please post the link to the article. I want to read it. I'll post the link as soon as I'm done. But you understand what I'm saying? Like there is a plot to the game. The game has a plot. Things happen to get you from that game to GTA 3. That's what he should be talking about. Tony makes his way through the mob family, working from his low status into becoming the underboss or whatever the hell it is that happens in the game. Again, things happen. Things happen in this game. I don't know. This is a terribly written article so far. So far, I am unimpressed with Michael Mullis. He's a PR regurgitator. It was obvious with his Amico coverage and him getting mad at our Sam. Yeah. I didn't realize you were comparing this to a Kim Jong review article. Kim Jong. This is a Kim Jong Mullis. This is him. This is his article. George Costanza says, and this is the writing of the guy who said Sam Makovich is a hack. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But it gets worse. Maybe he's not good at story, right? He's got more. The article goes on because we got to talk about gameplay. Did I mention that Liberty City Stories is as good as any of the PS2 console GTA games? Well, if you want to be more exact, Liberty City Stories is like Grand Theft Auto 3 for no other reason than the storyline happens so close to it. Wow, that I've read some pretty dumb things in my life. I've read pretty dumb statements, and I'm almost at a loss for words. Almost, not quite, but I'm almost at a loss for words. The reason that it plays like Grand Theft Auto 3 is that the storyline happens so close to it. Not because it's built on the same engine, not because the same team worked on it, not because Grand Theft Auto was a success and they're trying to emulate what Grand Theft Auto 3 did, right? No, the game plays like Grand Theft Auto 3 because the storyline is like Grand Theft Auto 3. That's why. If it was a different story, if Liberty City Stories was about a different city, right? If it was about Vice City, if it was Vice City instead of Liberty City Stories or Vice City Stories, it would play differently than Grand Theft Auto 3 because it's about a different story, right? Fucking this guy. Why didn't EGM or Nintendo Power hire Mullis? Huge missed out. Huge. Oh boy, I see your point of view now. Yikes. Thank you. Thank you. For a second, I thought this was a G4 review by Urian Froth. George says, when Sam wrote the article for Ars Technica, Mike went off on how he was horrible compared to him. Sweet and Tender, can you pull up that podcast? Sweet and Tender, can you pull up the link? We'd love to get the Mike Mullis. All right, so let's carry on. Let's carry on. But everything you have seen and played in Liberty City is there. So the best way to review this is to fill those in who've never played a GTA game before. If you already know Grand Theft Auto, you can actually stop the review right here. Go to your local game store. Buy this game. Buy this game, guys. Just buy this game. You've told me nothing. You've told me nothing. The only thing you've told me is, hey, it plays like Grand Theft Auto 3. That's it. That's not reason enough for me to go buy it. If you own a PSP and you are over 18, there is no excuse for not having it. Just buy it. Consume. Just consume. But if you've kind of avoided, how do you kind of avoid it? Didn't you just? But if you've avoided GTA, but if you've avoided, not kind of, don't kind, you ain't kind of. But if you've kind of avoided GTA because you just didn't understand what it was about, or you've lived under a rock, then read on. Oh man, if you've been living under a rock, Mike Mullis is gonna. You're in froth. I don't understand. I don't understand, Noah. I don't get it. My brain is Swiss cheese. So the whole crux of Grand Theft Auto is Liberty City, where everything happens. You travel the city's huge 3 islands by any means you see fit, either by foot or by vehicle. There's even a railway system and taxis to pick you up and take you where you need to go. The sun rises and sets, affecting the city's inhabitants. In the daylight hours, people go about their day-to-day business. But when night falls, out come the gangs, drug dealers, and prostitutes tout for trade. And prostitutes tout for trade. And prostitutes tout for trade. I think he means out. I think this T is not there. Is typo? I hope it's typo. Editors. Even in 2005, apparently we gaming websites couldn't afford editors. Also, please note that this is the gameplay section. This is the gameplay section. It should be telling me about playing the game, how the game plays, not what activities are in the game, but actually how it plays. You know, how the controls feel. Let's see. Liberty City is divided into 3 islands or districts. Portland is the industrial zone, which comprises of the docks, the red light district, warehouses, and markets. Staunton Island is the commercial district and features all the big businesses and is populated by the rich and powerful. There's also a large shopping mall, casino, and a football stadium for the residents. Shoreside Vale is suburban bliss and tranquility and home to Liberty City's more affluent gangsters. Again, I think this should be gangsters, home to Liberty City's more affluent gangsters. Not more, unless there's only one. Is there only one affluent gangster in all of Liberty City? I bought State of Emergency when I was 22. Mullis was Rab before Rab, and nothing but word salad and nonsense. Yeah. Swimming pools and picket fences hide the violence and corruption that are at the heart of every home. After all, this is America. This is America, man. Violence and corruption that are at the heart of every home. After all, this is America. We're just Donald Glover owes Mike Mullis money for stealing his line. You start Liberty City Stories. You're back from exile, and immediately, oh my God, what? First off, it should be when you start Liberty City Stories. When you start Liberty City Stories, you're back from exile, and immediately you're immediately asked to take care of some Leon business. This sentence is just shit. It's just a shitty editors. Fuck. This is the guy that hey, I'm the great journalist Michael Mullis. All journalists fear me. Fucking guy. Missions usually require you to generally steal. Missions usually require you to generally steal a car, drive it to a predetermined point on the map, and do what you've been asked. But it begins to branch out as you move along in the story. You'll see what I mean. By the way, most of the things you saw in GTA are here. Hidden packages, insane stunt jumps, rampages, ammunitions, and pain spray. Liberty City also has its own laws, rules, ethics, and morals. You forgot a comma there? We journalists, we believe in the Chicago comma. Also, we won't see what you mean. You're the journalist. You have to tell us. You have to tell us. Why is there double space here? There's too much space. 3 spaces. You got 3 spaces here. Three spaces. I hope it is a result of the archive. And they are yours to shatter. If you do, don't expect to get away with it. There are many ways to get the police on your back, from running away from an accident to going on the rampage through the shopping mall with a handgun. Your quote, wanted level is depicted by, quote, stars, ranging from 1 star, a small amount of police interest, to 6 stars, whereby police, SWAT teams, FBI, roadblocks, helicopters, and even the army are gunning for you. And the, quote, go anywhere policy works extremely well and really pays off when you explore the city and uncover hidden secrets and power-ups. Your, quote, hero can find health, of course, weapons. Your hero can find health, of course, weapons. This breathe. I want to say he is a terrible writer. He is terrible. Most needs to get a Pulitzer or Nobel Prize. Noah says, I'll shoot you my old reviews I've saved for old Xbox indie games if interested. I took pride in my writing. I am not a good writer by any means, but I know when to start a new paragraph. I would be interested in seeing those, Noah. You know where to find me. We'll definitely read one on here. We'll definitely go over it, and I'll do the thing that I do. But I am sure, I am positive there's no way this bad. No way. In Liberty City, you can get just about every conceivable weapon for your budding gangster. You start with just your fist, and then a baseball bats, and then a baseball bats. A singular plural baseball bats. And then at baseball bats, handguns. And then at baseball bats, handguns. Wow, it gets worse when we actually continue the sentence on. I don't know what a baseball bat's handgun. That's interesting. That would be an interesting weapon. Like, does it shoot baseball bats? Is it shaped like a handgun that shoots baseball bats out of it? Or is it shaped like a baseball bat that shoots handguns? Like you swing it and then like handguns come out of the baseball bat? I'd love for you to bash my old shit. Well, I'd be flattered. I'd definitely do it. Uzis, machine guns. Uzis are machine guns. Grenades, rocket launchers, and more. And he's got some pictures. We gotta have the helpful pictures. I'd really be curious to know if these were actually the same pictures that every website used, or if these were actually from his personal collection. Just as with other Grand Theft Auto games, Liberty City Stories relies heavily on vehicles, and the streets of Liberty City are literally jammed with many different types of cars, buses, taxis, trucks, sports cars, motorbikes. Isn't cars and sports cars the same thing? They're cars. And even military vehicles and boats. There's boats on the streets because the streets are literally jammed with many different types of boats. The streets are jammed with boats, guys. In Liberty City Stories, they're cars and boats on the streets. Mike Mullis should write an NES book. He would give Pat Contry and Brett Weiss a run for their money. This writing is so fucking bad. When I had people who worked for me, right, when I was paying people to write articles for me, if somebody sent me this, somebody had presented this to me, I would have sent it back. Like, I am not paying for this. I would not pay for this. Like, no, you need to rewrite this. This is a rough draft. This should not have ever been printed, published. All are for the taking. Wait for your chosen victim to stop, or you can force them to stop by stepping out in front of their car, and then one quick press of the triangle button will yank your chosen victim out of their car and allow you to drive away with it. But beware, some motorists will fight back. Handling of the vehicles in Grand Theft Auto is just as good as the console version. Each car has its own physics and distinct handling. Plus, certain vehicles have mini-games to them. Taxis, police cars, and ambulances. You can pick up passengers with the cab, take victims to the hospital in the ambulance, or take the law into your own hands by being a vigilante with the police car. Finally, for the first time, there is real multiplayer action in Grand Theft Auto. There is Liberty City Survivor, which is a standard deathmatch style game. Then you have games like Protection Racket, Get Stretch, Capture the Flag but with limos, Tanks for the Memories, The Hit List, Take Out the Marked Man, All Against One, Street Rage, and The Wedding List. The games are really cool and will take up to 6 players. The problem is that the game is ad hoc only, which means you have to know 5 other people with PSPs and have to all be together at once. That isn't going to happen very often. Why couldn't the game have an infrastructure mode where you could play online? That would have made the most sense. Mike Mullis pining for the days of online. It's weird, isn't it weird? The part where you trade trout for drugs and prostitutes sounds cool. Too much water, yeah. But I mean, it is weird to see Mike Mullis complaining. Now, I want you to understand something here. Before we get into the where I'm going, right? Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories was the best-selling game on the PSP. The odds of somebody having this game, if they owned a PSP, were phenomenally high, right? Like if you had a PSP, chances are you had this game because it was the best-selling game on the PSP of all time. 8 million copies. 8 million copies of Liberty City Stories was sold. Let me see. What is So there was 80 million-ish units sold of the PSP. So about 10%, 10% owned Liberty City Stories, right? And if you owned it, there's a good chance that your friends owned it because you know you're probably into the same type of things. So the idea that you all would have, uh, the game and Wi-Fi and ad hoc shouldn't be that hard, right? It shouldn't be that difficult. But for Mike to be like, no, 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 we want online play. We want online play. We don't want couch co-op. We want online. Yeah. I love how he says that would make the most sense though. Like, he knows what's good for the industry. All right, presentation. The graphics in Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories are never short of stunning. Like I said, no compromises. No compromises ever. Graphics matter and they're great. They're fantastic. Best graphics ever. I couldn't see any difference between this and the PS2 game. The city is huge and actually has new shops and pedestrians too. A full weather ecosystem, which includes rain, fog, thunder, and lightning, affects the gameplay. Rain makes roads more slippery for both yourself and the police, and fog can also work to your advantage if they send up the helicopters. The characters in the game are drawn well, but there's still that cheesy fighting and shooting animations that makes you laugh when you're kicking some poor guy in the ground in the crotch. It should be those. There are still those cheesy, not that. That is a singular. Cheesy fighting and shooting animations are plural. Those. And for the first time, different outfits have been made available to the player in Liberty City. You can go to your house, which is also your save point, and change your duds into something nice. It's pretty cool. The sound of Liberty City Stories also merits an award. The effects for the cars, guns, and general city noises are spot on. You can even hear people talking to each other on the streets. But where the sound really shines is the many radio stations that you can pick up from each vehicle. Every radio station has a different style of music, although the only thing about the PSP game is there isn't any real licensed music this time around. It's all indie stuff. But luckily, the talk radio, complete with nutty callers ringing in, is still there. However, and we just figured out how to do it, we can actually use your PSP's music storage to play custom soundtracks in the game! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point! It's a game you definitely play with headphones on. Hell yeah. It's too bad we can't actually play the video. I would have loved to play the video. Overall, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories is one of the best handheld games I have ever played, hands down. It's a game that cannot be replicated on any other handheld, including the new Gizmondo system. Take that, Gizmondo. Now, this is the type of game that changes the definition of a handheld. It's going to be really hard with a game like this to say that the PSP is just another handheld. And congratulations to Rockstar Leeds and Rockstar Games. You have just set the bar for handheld gaming, and now it's really high. And then the PSP went out of business. The greatest handheld game ever. Ever. And somehow PSP it's just done. It's just, it didn't lead to a Sony revolution. It's weird how that works. That was a rough one, gentlemen. That was a rough one. And as promised, I will put the link in the chat so you too can enjoy this great Mike Mullis article. So there it is. Link is in the chat. All you who want to read it yourself, see it in full glory. I we might make this. We should make this a weekly thing. Let's do that from now on. At the end of the show, after we got everything out of the way, after all the news of the day, after all the fake journalists, after all the bad games journalism has been finished, after we do the polls, we will cleanse our palates with good games journalism from Next Level Gaming. We will read a Mike Mullis article, review, preview every single week, because I know that this is going to be the highlight of my day, because it's so good. It's game changing. It was soul freeing. My soul is freed. Because Mike Mullis is the greatest games journalist I've ever had the pleasure of reading. How many articles did Mullis end up making? Did someone actually hire him? This was his. He never worked for any other website, as far as I know, as far as I'm aware. It was always his own. So what you see is what you get. But I mean, there's plenty of there. We can see Call of Duty. I think we got a Call of Duty Big Red 1. Yeah, that article's live. We can read that one. Oh man, there's another good one. Another. He reviewed. Did he review Dead or Alive 4? Oh, Dead or Alive 4 is available. Yes. We can see Mike Mullis talking about some TNA. But there's only a preview. It's not a review. Man. It's going to be fantastic. We are going to have ourselves quite the time. Was that his Opus Magnus? Possibly. All right, everybody. Thank you for keeping me company on this journey. Thank you for watching. To all the people watching the replay, why weren't you here live? We have way more fun live. If you haven't done so already, throw a thumbs up on the video. It helps the channel, helps me feel good. Make sure that you're subscribed. You hit that bell. I don't know what it does, but you got to hit the bell for some reason. And of course, consider being a member of the channel so you always get high quality content like this right in your ear hole. Because we deliver only the best live stream experience, bringing you the eargasms that you so desperately need on your Saturday night. And yes, Beefy, I agree, that was fucking horrible. It was the worst fucking article. We've read some pretty bad articles. Look at that. Also, congratulations to Beefy hitting 100 subs today. Good job, Mr. Beefy. Look at it, Lower. You do good content. I like your content. You opening up packages of toys. Your son is very funny. It is very amusing. It's relaxing content. You do good. You got a cute kid. When he says beefy bites, that's it. It's like, thumbs up. Beefy says I could write better than that, and I suck at writing. Yeah. And remember, he put his whole ass. That wasn't even half-assing it. That was Mike Mullis, serious games journalist, doing serious games journalism. That's what we just read, and it was fucking terrible. It was so bad. I need to go and bash my head against the wall for about 15, 20 minutes to try to forget what I just read. Because I have issues forgetting things, except for important things. I can never remember those. But anyway, enough rambling. It's time for me to go. I don't want to leave, but I have to. It's the only way to make you guys miss me is by going away. As always, love, peace, booty grease. I'm out this bitch.